Let's go, baby. We're back. Episode 2 of Bro Hear Me Out. Recording about a day after we finally published it.
Barely posted the first one, and then
So
we're
our
back in
takes
we're back in the studio.
back in the stew, baby. Our takes might not be as crispy as they should be. I guess we recorded a week ago. That wasn't as
That
good.
wasn't as good. That wasn't as good. We got a couple seltzers.
Yeah, guys, a couple of seltzers to start us off right. In accordance with last week, we're gonna start off with our own bro, hear me out. So I'll start and we'll try to get at the end. Hopefully I'll have one. But yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see I'm wearing an ugly Christmas sweater. Got Snoopy, and I've been trying to think of this guy's name all day long. I think it's Linus, but I also think that's a
Dude, that's
character.
just the chill guy.
Just the chill guy. Yeah. So yeah, I just came directly from a 1-year-old birthday party, but it was also ugly sweater themed.
Yeah, you didn't give me a heads up that that was gonna be a thing.
Yeah. So we can get into the ugly sweater a bit later. But my hot take, or my bro hear me out moment is, I don't think it's a super hot take, but it was for me leading into this. Birthday parties for anyone less than 5 is just for the parents. I think it's an excuse for like today. It was great. Like there's a bunch of babies there.
How old was the kid that had the
One.
birthday?
First
Oh yeah,
birthday.
that's for the parents.
So yeah,
The
that's what I'm
kid's never
saying.
gonna remember that.
And I will definitely admit I was a I don't know if I would say top tier, but I was a hater on it. Like obviously the kid's not gonna remember it, but then I get there and the drinks are flowing, the desserts are flowing.
How many drunk parents were there?
It was 12 to 2:30, so not a lot. But I think in the right in the right environment, it could have been a lot. And I feel like
Could have
that's
been rowdy.
what any first birthday party, especially in the summer, it kind of sucks that it's in the winter right now and you can't really grill out or anything. But in the summer, I feel like it's an excuse just to, like, it's a celebration of the parents, really. It's like you made it a year and didn't, like, your kid's still alive. So it's like, let's rage. And the kid is like in the corner with all the other kids and everyone buys presents, but like, really, it's for the parents.
Yeah, it's for
And
the
like they're really stressed,
Yeah, I
but it was
agree.
lit. And like I think more of the parents, like I talked to a lot of parents, like, are the kids gonna remember that? No, it's like any other day at school.
Yeah,
But
I was literally just trying to think of the first birthday party that I remember.
I had to have been like, I remember I chose it. So I had to have been like 8. Like I chose where to go.
Yeah, I feel like I feel like I definitely have memories of like my parents getting like a bouncy castle in our backyard,
Yeah.
which was pretty sick.
Yeah, but it's like basically a play date for everyone, like all the little kids. So it's also, yeah. So my my hot take to start is, I don't even think it'd be a hot take at that moment. Maybe it's just an unspoken thing that
Yeah, no,
birthday parties from like maybe 3, 1, 2, and 3, especially one, as I learned today, strictly for the parents. And I think
well,
also the
that kid
parents,
literally can't even speak. He can't remember anything.
right.
Yeah,
And it's like built around the baby, but also the parents are like obviously choosing the food, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
But like the second the baby's involved, it's like, oh, I want mac and cheese. Like no one fucking wants mac and cheese. Right? Like, let's be real. Like I remember one of my birthdays, I asked for fish sticks and French fries. It's like no one above the age of 12 is gonna eat a fish stick for like dinner for your birthday.
dude, speak for your fucking self.
Maybe that's it.
Don't
Fish
fucking
sticks, I
rip
burnt
a fish
myself
stick.
out.
Come on.
Fish sticks in the oven, bro. No. So yeah, that's mine. That's we can start with that.
Throw back to the South Park episode. You're gay fish.
Yeah, yeah, I was, bro. Fish sticks and French fries. That was my thing. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I guess we can get to yours after, but I can expand on
Yeah.
real quick. But yeah, so this birthday party, the daughter turned 1 years old today, and it was put on me. I was told probably on, if today's Saturday, I was told probably on Thursday that's a Christmas sweater party, and so I was like, okay, great, but I didn't know what that meant because you have ugly Christmas sweaters and you have Christmas sweaters. So I was like, I'm just gonna go really low key a red Christmas sweater. Of course, I don't have any red Christmas, like I don't have sweater like Christmas sweaters. So I texted them, I was like, is it ugly or not? And they're like, it's up to you. So the fear in my eyes of like, I'm gonna be there with an ugly Christmas sweater and everyone's gonna be looking like really nice with their kids and everything, like a Christmas card picture. And so I went and I was just gonna run with it because I feel like someone's got to put the party on their back at that point. So like, I'm not gonna find a nice Christmas sweater, and obviously an ugly Christmas sweater is gonna be a lot cheaper. So last night I was like totally expecting to go to like TJ Maxx and find one.
Mm.
Went to TJ Maxx, nothing. Went to Target, nothing. They only had
So
like
you just bought this.
last night.
Okay.
They had like Target had, and all the girls are great. Like all the girl sections is lit with Christmas sweaters, and ugly Christmas sweaters is like perfect. Like ideally, I wanted something that I could wear to like a gathering that would be like, oh, that could be an ugly Christmas sweater, but it's also like kind of nice.
Yeah.
Like reindeer, like something your grandma would knit you. But I was like, okay, I have to run with the Christmas sweater thing. Target, nothing, strike out. I was getting in a bad mood. Went home, tried to Amazon something. I feel like anytime I Amazon something, it can be something I need in 2 weeks and it's there today. And so I went and I was like, sure, I can Amazon some shitty Christmas sweater that'll be here tomorrow morning. Magically, Amazon Prime doesn't work for Christmas sweaters.
No
So I'm like,
way.
fuck, what am I supposed to wear to this 1 year old birthday party that's strictly Christmas themed? And I was like, I'm going to die on this hill and I'm going to find something. So then I went to Marshall's and I was going to go to Goodwill, but I went to Marshall's and I found two Christmas sweaters, sauced them both. And then, yeah, I chose the Snoopy one and it worked out because it was ugly Christmas sweater. Everyone wants to wear an ugly Christmas sweater, so everyone was wearing one. And so I had two. I wore this one. Elise wore the other one that I bought because she also didn't have an ugly Christmas sweater. And I think she didn't realize that it was ugly Christmas sweater. So by the time we got there, she had joined the Christmas sweater train. So, or the ugly Christmas sweater train. So yeah, it worked out, but very long and drawn out process to get an ugly Christmas sweater in December, which is a little miserable because I feel like there's a lot of people who want to wear that. But
All right. I got a bro hear me out
okay.
on this subject
Okay.
specifically. Bro, hear me out. There's no such thing as a Christmas sweater that is not ugly.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah. But some people, you have to say it because some people probably think their Christmas sweaters are bangers.
They're just
Probably
not.
older people. I know they're
It's
not. But it's like a Christmas sweater, and they're not, they're probably like, it's probably an older demographic that's like, oh, this is a Christmas sweater. I'm never gonna wear it unless it's Christmas, but they don't go out and wear something with like Snoopy and like
Yeah, right. That's the
sparkly
problem.
on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. I thought about that today when I was putting it on. I was like, I had a bunch of Christmas sweaters when I was growing up in high school. And obviously they were ugly Christmas sweaters for that reason, but I paid like $60 for them because it was like American Eagle and it was like supposed to be nice. But it wasn't. They're still ugly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, I feel like every Christmas sweater I've ever had has
Yeah.
just disappeared one way or the other.
Yeah.
Like I can't think. I've had multiple. Rocket. I know you really want to hang out, but you can't. You can't be on that. So yeah, anyways, I think there's no such thing as a not ugly Christmas sweater, and that's why I don't know where any of the 10 I've probably had in my life are.
Probably just gone.
Probably all
Gone
gone.
with the wind.
Yeah.
I feel like there are a lot of Christmas sweaters out there. Like the ugly Christmas sweater thing is cool, but there are a lot that are over the top. Like there's some in this store, there's bells on it and shit. It's like some of it is just I swear
it's
they
too
just
much.
like
It's
take
totally
the
too
extra
much.
stuff they accumulate throughout the year and just sew it to the Christmas sweater. It's like a cowbell, and one of them just had like a piece of foil, and it's like, oh, you can put your drink in this, and it's just a shitty pocket that doesn't fit an actual like it wouldn't even fit a seltzer because it just like it's big enough for a fucking bucket to go in there. It's like you can put your drink in here. It's like no, you just cut off a piece of like this large t-shirt and sewed it to the like front of it. You can't put your drink in there. You're not, no one's gonna put your drink in there. And then you're just like, at that point, I almost bought one, so I feel like I can say it. But at that point, I pictured myself just being the asshole walking around with a drink in my pouch. It's like,
Yeah.
is that really funny? Or are people like, wow, this guy's an alcoholic. He's like walking around with a beer at this 1 year old party and his like pouch. It's like, and every time he goes in, he has to like really dive deep into it because it's just a shitty piece of fabric. Yeah. So, but the ugly Christmas sweaters are, I think they're cool, but
They are cool. They are cool. They're just all ugly.
they are all ugly. And then it's
Yeah.
like they make like really funny ones that are like I saw some on Amazon, they're like two reindeer like fucking. Like that's so funny, bro. And it's
Dude,
like,
why didn't you get that one for the
because
kids party?
it wouldn't arrive in time.
Oh,
It's
God.
like discreet, so it looks like it's just like, oh, those are reindeer and snowflakes. But then you really look and it's like the reindeer obviously like humping each other. It's so funny, but yeah, like those are the bangers. But then you have some that are really tacky and just stuff pasted everywhere. And it doesn't even make sense. Like Santa smoking a joint. It's like, bro, that's
Yeah,
not
that's
an
not very
ugly Christmas
tasteful.
sweater. That's just like a shitty idea that someone had, and it's
Yeah.
like an intern just was like,
That's like a Christmas sweater you get for like a college party or
yeah,
something.
yeah. And I feel like a lot of, I mean, Christmas sweaters are like that, but it's also, I think there's too many. Like, look, if you look on Amazon, ugly Christmas sweater, most of it is like, there's not enough like ugly Christmas sweaters that are well made. It's like too much of Santa like posing like a playboy, or I mean reindeer fucking is funny, but
That is pretty funny.
everything else is like, yeah, Mrs. Claus doing a line of coke, and it's like, okay, I want an ugly Christmas sweater, but this is just fucking stupid. Like, I'm not trying to get fired from my job by wearing this in public. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'd say that's my rant. But
There you go. I like it.
that's been
I
my day
like
so
it.
far. My last 24 hours.
No, Christmas parties are fun. I mean, it's Christmas themed child's birthday party. Not bad.
No, it was like a really, yeah, it was like the theme was like obviously her first birthday party, but then I feel like it was a really good move on the parents' part just to say like we're having a theme so some people don't feel underdressed or overdressed. Like if I was going to a child's birthday party, what do you wear? I have no idea. Do I wear a crew neck sweatshirt? Do I wear like a collared shirt? Like I have no idea. But if they're just like, yeah, it's an ugly Christmas sweater theme, or there's just some type of theme that like matches up in pictures, I feel like that's a good move, or it was a good move.
Plain Nike tee,
Yeah, but
normal pants.
for a girl,
I don't know.
a girl is just
I don't
like,
know.
I don't know if I should wear a dress or if I should wear like a crew neck or a hoodie. Like I guess girls don't really wear hoodies, but yeah, I felt like that was a really good move on their part. But yeah, so it's like first birthday party with a Christmas theme because obviously Christmas is very soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, 5, 10 out of 10, I would say. Pretty clutch.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, good notes for the future. All right, switching subjects. What was your experience of uploading our first podcast? We're 1 week into being wannabe podcasters.
Yeah.
I feel like we probably both felt like getting everything together was going to be a little bit easier than
Way easier.
it turned out to
Yeah.
be. Like,
Yeah, that was
so
yeah.
talk us through your experience, then I'll go through mine.
Yeah, so basically we recorded it, what was that? Sunday?
Sunday
Yeah,
afternoon.
Sunday, and we recorded it within like 2 hours, and the setup was a lot to make sure the sound was working and everything. And shout out to everyone who did listen and reached out and said it was at least tolerable to listen to.
Val had some notes.
Yeah, I mean we're always open to criticism, but yeah, it was like I went home, I saved the audio file to my desktop, totally anticipating I just got to basically post it to Spotify. But little did I know that it is not like that at all. You have to convert it to an MP3 file, which also isn't hard. And if anyone knows how to do this, slash has a podcast and knows it's easier, and I just slash we sound like idiots, that's fine because we kind of are.
We'll get it dialed for
Yeah,
sure.
it will
we
be
keep
dialed.
doing it, it's gonna get way easier.
Yeah.
But like,
yeah, but I have like a software that you can mass upload it to all streaming services, and I thought you could just click a button and do it, but little did I know you have like basically Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music. It's literally everywhere. Wherever you listen to a fucking podcast, we're there.
Yeah,
I just like I still can't find it on Spotify. I have to use a link for some reason, but we're out there. So it has to like individually, whatever person is approving all these podcast applications has to approve us.
Yeah.
And then it has to go down the list. We have to wait for that. And then obviously uploading a 2 hour MP3 file takes a while.
Yeah.
And so once I finally thought it was all good, you need cover art, which is like we thought about, but also like I thought about just like placeholder uploading a photo of us. Like I'm sure we could find a funny photo of us out there, but then it's like, whoa, we should do it right. And we should find like a AI thing. And then unless you pay for AI, it chooses not to spell shit right for whatever reason.
Well, ChatGPT, I think that's like non-design related. So yeah, so basically like before we even recorded the first podcast, we both kind of tried to figure out if we could just get ChatGPT to create us a logo, and it kept misspelling everything. Honestly, some of them were pretty funny because it'd be like bro,
yeah,
or like whatever, or not spell like the whole thing. But yeah, so I ended up hitting my up our friend Emery. Shout out Emery. And
Nice.
she gave me access to like Midjourney, which is like a
Yeah.
crazy like AI design tool.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, sick. This is gonna be so simple. I'm just gonna type something in and we're immediately gonna have a logo.
Yeah.
Dude, I sat down for like 3 hours and it's like kept giving it prompts and I was like, God damn, it's like just not what I'm looking for, or like not what I had. Like I was trying to give it like prompts where it would be like time back to Boulder or time back to
Right.
running or like time back to stuff about us. And dude, like anytime I mentioned anything about Boulder, it would just like make us lumberjacks. And like put our faces like in the logo. Yeah, so I sat there for like 3 hours one night and like never got to something that like there was some that like probably would have been fine.
Yeah.
And then I recruited Val's help and
Mm.
she yeah. Anyway, shout out Val. She got the one that we ended up using, which was basically just like a basic
It looks
like
very basic, but it looks
yeah,
very clean.
yeah, that's kind of what I wanted.
Yeah.
But yeah, she ultimately gave it the prompts to like get it to the right thing. And yeah, so the logo
Mm.
that you see, all credit to Val because she really she really got it to that point.
Saved us. And
Yeah.
then yeah, so with the filler photo, then you need a description, and we didn't really think about that. And then we
No.
discussed real quick. So then at this point, it's like Monday or Tuesday. Like we wanted to upload it on
Yeah, we
Tuesday.
were like Tuesday. That's what we
Yeah.
said originally. Like, oh, it's Sunday. We should be able to get it up by Tuesday.
Yeah.
But we also work
Right.
full-time jobs. We also
Yeah.
have other stuff going on. Like
Yeah.
you're training a lot and
But yeah, how I pictured it was I would just basically download it, then upload it, and then say yes, submit to Spotify, and it would be just be able to be done within an hour. And so yeah, it's Tuesday, and then I finally get it all done, and then I'm trying to upload it to Apple Music and all that stuff. And then yeah, it just took a while to get approved, but then also I had to little did I know you had to pay for the software I was using, which makes sense because it's really
I
nice
figured
software.
when you were like, dude, it's free. I was like, there's no fucking way
Yeah,
it's
so I was
free.
trying to upload it and it's like you have to subscribe, and I was like, this is dumb. So I like slammed my laptop shut a bunch of times. But that part was definitely on me. So I probably wasted at least 24 to 36 hours, and then finally got it uploaded to Apple Music. But then I personally don't use Apple Music, and obviously you need it on Spotify and everything else. And so
Spotify is
and
definitely the
YouTube.
most important.
Yeah.
I feel
And
like YouTube and Spotify are the most important, and then
yeah.
I think like just having them on anything else is like it's
A
not bad to
bonus.
have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in the meantime, there was like one or two people that downloaded it off of the software website. So some homies out there, there's one in North Carolina, which I told you about, and then before I even uploaded it to Spotify or Apple Music, someone in Japan downloaded it. So I'm not sure if that's probably a
We're
bot,
going
but
international.
yeah, we're international
We're
first try.
international.
And
Let's
then
go.
yeah, and then basically got it up on Apple Music, and then Spotify took really forever to get it going. And then finally Apple Music was nice because it notified me. Spotify was just like, it's out there. You just like trust me, bro. And then I was like, well, I'd like
Yeah,
to
then you
listen to
couldn't find it.
my podcast. And so then I finally got it, and we made an Instagram page in the meantime. Give that a follow. And then finally found it, tossed it up on the story. So yeah, we uploaded on Friday from our recording on Sunday, which ideally won't happen again. Like now we're recording Saturday. I think if we record over the weekend, it should always be able to go up Tuesday or Wednesday, really.
Yeah, I think now it'll be a lot more dialed.
Mm.
Yeah, so basically Charlie handled uploading it to all of the other platforms, and then I created an Instagram page for it and for the podcast, and then I also created a YouTube page,
Yeah.
which same type of thing. Like I used to upload some videos to YouTube here and there.
Check it out. Check it out. No shame.
No, don't check it out. I don't want to see that shit.
You have to.
No,
You
we're
have
not
to.
going into that. No, you can go try to find it.
Type in greatest
No,
RC
no,
cars
no, no,
ever.
no, 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 chill. Um, yeah, so, but anyways, I just hadn't uploaded to YouTube in a while, and I hadn't created a new YouTube channel, in forever.
I don't think I ever have.
Yeah, I mean, it's not hard. It's all free,
Yeah.
obviously, but so like I had to like slightly edit the video because we were trying to figure, on the front end and the back end,
Right.
I had to edit that. And then I was trying to like make sure the audio is all good. And then I finally get it onto YouTube, but it's the same thing. Like you got to enter like a description.
Mm.
the name, everything, like naming the episode.
Like categories, did you have to do that?
I think I could
I
have.
had
I
to choose
mean,
categories
there's
for it.
definitely stuff that we can build out like more
Yeah.
that I didn't, but yeah, anyways, like I uploaded to YouTube. I think I'm good, or at least uploading it, like finally get the right file and everything, upload it, and then it's like, oh, this video is too long. I'm like, what? And I'm like, are you kidding me? And yeah, you have to like verify your phone number. You have
Yeah.
to verify your phone number to upload a video more than 15 minutes onto YouTube.
Damn.
That
15
makes
minutes. That's the
sense. That
cutoff.
makes sense. Like
Anything
what?
under 15, you're good. No phone,
Yeah.
free ball it. Over
Yeah.
15, we need your phone number.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, I don't know. So then then like, you know how, I don't know if this is for you, but like for me, I have like a few different like Google accounts on
Yeah,
my
okay.
computer, and like Val's is on
Right.
my computer. So every time I went to verify it, it was like verifying, like it was like your number's already verified, but it was like verifying Val's channel who already has like a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, I had a few slam the laptop shut
Yeah.
moments, but anyways, we got it, and then we got everything posted, and then we posted on social media, which honestly I was a little anxious about.
Yeah.
Just, kind of putting ourselves out there a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like most people who I know who have started podcasts are like kind of gauge the audience. Like I thought about it too, of posting on my story. It's like, oh, should I start a podcast? And I kind of did that on my Strava 2 weeks ago. Like, should I start a YouTube channel? And people are just like, just do it. Like no one really cares.
That's the thing, dude. Like, there's so much. Yeah, that's the thing I kept coming back to. Is like, if you go on the internet, there's so much like cringy stuff
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah.
And I mean, cringy or not, I mean, I guess certain things are going to be perceived by certain people differently than other people. But
Mhm.
yeah, for us, I just felt like, we're not planning on saying anything like
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
So it's really just like we're interested in doing this. We should try it. But yeah, anyways,
Mhm.
when we posted about it, I think that was yesterday. Was that yesterday?
Yeah, and it was after the first episode. Like it was the first thing I
Yeah.
ever mentioned about the podcast was a direct link to the podcast. And I had
Yeah.
people responding like, this is crazy, but it's also nice that it's already done.
Yeah.
Like it's not like, oh, should I start a podcast next week? Tune in. It's like people's attention spans are so low anyway. But I was like, oh, we started a podcast. Like if I feel like if we posted about it on Saturday when we were recording or Sunday when we recorded it and it was like, tune in, it's like, oh, it's fucking Friday.
Yeah.
And people are just like, these dipshits don't know what they're doing. But
No.
now it's like we have recorded it and we went through a lot and then it is finally public. Now we posted about it and you
Yeah.
can access it right now.
Well, yeah. And the good thing was, I felt like the nice thing was I was kind of waiting for like, like just I feel like we're both on like the same page as far as like we both worked on kind of things equally, like separately,
Yeah.
which has been nice because it's like sometimes I feel like when you start doing these things, like you might be like recording with someone and they're like not interested, right?
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, Kyle, did you create the YouTube video or whatever? Anyways, it's been nice because we both just kind of like worked on it and then we posted it
Yeah.
around the same time, and
And it was done.
yeah, then it was done. So first one's out there. Got some honestly, like obviously it was just like mostly like our friends, but
Mhm.
everyone was like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah. 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 Everyone who reached out, that's always appreciated. Like, regardless of, even if you say this is a not great topic, or even if it's a bad idea, or I wasn't a fan of episode two, I liked episode one, like the style. I feel like the style is always going to be kind of off the riff and just chatting. But
Yeah, maybe
um,
one day we'll have a more of a solidified theme, but
yeah.
I feel like right now it's just I don't know. I had a bunch of fun recording the first one, just
Yeah.
chatting about all the shit that I mean, we barely scratched the surface of all the stuff we're interested in, but
Honestly, yeah.
yeah, I think it's just, if anything, if no one listens to it, at least we're enjoying it.
Yeah. I mean, I listened to it like twice, so
Yeah,
that really pumped the
we
numbers.
enjoy it,
Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
listen to it too.
But I mean, even in that, listening to it yesterday while I was driving, I was listening to myself, obviously, which is weird, but what I said last week is if one person listens to it and is happy or is stoked on it or just like happy with it,
Yeah.
that's all that matters to me, and that truly is. And last week it happened to be myself. But I
Yeah.
think even like people reached out, like we had people reach out like, oh, I listened to it, or even Val when I came over, she's like, yeah, listen to the whole thing first try through and
Yeah.
through. It's like, wow, I'm glad it wasn't that horrible that you had to pause and like give
Yeah.
yourself a break and then come back and listen to us again. So yeah, and I think obviously with everything you do in life, you were just gonna get better, but it's nice to hear that even if it's just our friends or people who just toss it on and don't actually listen to every part of us talking about UFC or Grand
Yeah.
Slam or whatever, you're listening to it, and that's really
I think the other
nice.
thing though too is like people are gonna like I like even people from work
Yeah,
like they were like liking the story because
right.
I don't have like everyone on work on my Instagram because my Instagram's private, but a lot of people were like liking the story, so it's like I'm sure some of those people will be interested in like, oh, I didn't know half this stuff that Kyle's interested in,
Right. And
you
even
know?
if it's not episode 1 or episode 2 or even episode until 10, if we're consistent enough with it, they're like, well, they're still doing it. So it's probably interesting enough. Yeah. Probably interesting enough that, or at least they have enough fun that I should try it once. And even if someone listens to it, like from your work or my work or whatever, I'm gonna listen to episode 10 and nothing else. Like I've found so many podcasts that I've loved that I've retroactively listened to everything leading up, and it's not gonna be as applicable to daily life or whatever because it's
Yeah.
in the past. But yeah, I mean, I feel like if we're consistent with it, we'll just get more listeners, and that's really hopefully our pod. Like, I mean, it would be cool maybe at some point to have recurring segments or like,
I think that stuff will build out. I mean, technically
yeah,
we have one now because the first one we didn't
yeah,
do the bro hear me out part,
uh,
and now we do, or we did that,
yeah.
and that'll be cool.
Or like
So
check back next week, like when things start to ramp up, like racing or traveling, like, oh, we're gonna be
yeah,
doing this. Check back next week, we'll talk about it. Or
yeah,
even something as small, I guess it's not very small, but something like the Super Bowl, like, oh, check back next week with our favorite commercials. And so people could be like, oh, I'm excited to listen next week, but out of context, it wouldn't make sense.
yeah. Just side note: if the Chiefs win the Super Bowl too, I might the podcast might be over because I might end it all.
Well, the Chiefs are crazy. That's a whole nother topic. I feel like
Let's not
you're,
even get into that. Let's not get into that. I don't want to come off too much as a hater.
yeah.
Oh God.
I said, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoy the Chiefs. I think they're good
Dude,
at football. But it's like you guys are the best team. I say this all the time. You guys are the best team in the league.
they are the most fraudulent team this year
Why?
by like
Why are they
miles.
winning by 1 point every game? It's
Every
like
game.
you're 11-1. You can beat a team by more than a score once. Like at least make me believe you guys are good enough. Like it's yeah, you can go down the like, oh, we went to overtime and we know how to win. It's like, yeah, obviously you've won 11 games. You can blow out one team. Like it
No, they
doesn't
can't.
hurt just to like win by double digits once. Like just make me think like, yeah, this is a really good team. Don't make me think I'm gonna watch this and be thinking the Chiefs aren't gonna win and then you're gonna win on a field goal in the last minute. Like it's really good football and it like
No,
entertaining
their
to
games are
watch.
fun,
Yeah,
but then they
but
end in heartbreak, and I leave the rest of the day being upset.
yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
But it's also like if you're the best team in the league, like the Rams are, I mean, the Rams have scored a shit ton and the Lions have blown out some teams by 4 touchdowns. And like they're not the best team in the league. If you're the best team in the league, you should have one game. I mean, I'm a lifelong Patriots fan, so 21 years of my life, there's at least one game per year
Fall
that
from
the,
grace.
yeah, well, yeah,
Basically.
one game per year when I was growing up that the score against like the OG Redskins or
Yeah.
the Dolphins or something when they were absolutely horrible would be something like 52-7. It's like I know we're a good team. Versus
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
if I'm a Chiefs fan and I'm winning by a field goal at the last minute against this team that's 4-7 or whatever, it's like I
Dude,
don't
every
know we're a
team,
good team.
every single team, like Tampa Bay,
Yeah.
they won the overtime like coin flip, which
Yeah.
by the way, if anyone from the NFL hasn't heard this before, which they have,
Yeah.
fucking change the overtime rules. They're terrible. Change them to college rules or just
Yeah.
change them so each team gets a possession. That you
I think
shouldn't.
that that's the rule in the playoff, isn't it?
Fuck, I
Because I
hope
remember
so.
maybe it was
I don't
two
know.
years ago
They're
now,
so
but
bad.
the
Regular season
Bengals,
overtime rules are the worst
yeah,
in
the
the
Bengals
NFL.
game, yeah, regular season, it was, I think it was that Bengals Chiefs game, actually, I
You can't
think.
chalk it up to a coin toss. That's just not
Right.
that's not fair.
Yeah, I do think it was the Bengals Chiefs that 1 year, maybe it was 2 years ago, but I think playoff is different because it's
Hopefully.
like
I can't
your
remember.
season shouldn't ride or die on that coin flip. If you
Yeah.
have like someone like a playoff, any playoff team that's just going to score,
Yeah.
that's not fair. So I do think the playoffs is different. I feel like this is a Grand Slam thing where I could be also dead wrong, and that would be embarrassing because I've told a lot of people that the
Well,
playoff rules are different. But I do think the playoffs are each team gets a possession, and then at the end of that, not like the same as college, but each team at least gets a possession and is gets a chance. Even if you score, that's not the end of the game in the playoffs. Versus if you score a touchdown in the regular season, that's just the end of the game because that is a little ridiculous because you're playing professionals and even especially if it's a high scoring game and it's gone to overtime because the defenses haven't stopped anyone. It's very self-defeating. It's like, oh, if I win this coin toss, I know we're gonna win versus
I'm looking right now to see what it is.
yeah, I'm pretty sure because after that Bengals game with Joe Burrow just sitting on the bench and the score was
Each team will have an opportunity to possess the ball in overtime.
in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm right. Okay, that's a really
Overtime rules for NFL postseason. Yeah. Okay. Well,
yeah.
thank God.
But yeah, I mean that should be a rule
Well,
in the
why is it
regular
not the
season.
regular season?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so dumb.
Right.
Anyways, all right. Back to what I was saying. Tampa Bay lost basically on the coin flip.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they could have played better defense, but then the Ravens lost by literally half an inch of what's his face's toe being out of bounds.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The Broncos lost on a blocked kick,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
so frustrating.
Right.
Then the Raiders, who are garbage this year, were driving down the field. All they had to do is kick a field goal, I think.
Yeah, and they
And
snapped
then
it.
they snapped it and fumbled it, and they
Yeah.
recovered it.
Right.
Like the Broncos and the Raiders beat themselves.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
Yeah.
yeah, the most fraudulent team in 2024 is definitely the Chiefs.
Yeah, and I feel like I mean there's definitely been some times that they've been like, oh, it's fixed because of Taylor Swift. Let's go. Oh, come on.
Oh, dude, she splattered.
I feel like people have said they're favorited or whatever, and I do think there's a lot of publicity there. But yeah, I feel like at some point, especially the Raiders game, the camera like panned to Patrick Mahomes, and he's just clearly not stoked because he knows he didn't win.
Dude, from a fantasy perspective, Patrick Mahomes has been terrible this year.
Yeah, it's something I wouldn't know.
Yeah, well, yeah, no,
but yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, they're scoring maybe 2 touchdowns a game and then kicking a field goal at the very end, and that's the narrative for every touch or every game they play. But yeah,
I will say from like a non-hater perspective, they are winning games, which ultimately is all that matters.
Right.
I haven't seen anything to show that they should have the record that they do.
Yeah, I agree. I do. Yeah, I feel like there are better teams. Like I feel like the Lions are a better team.
I think Buffalo proved that when Buffalo beat them, and
maybe that was that game. I think it was Buffalo.
That was their only loss.
Was to that playoff game. I think was Buffalo and the Bengals.
Dude, shout out Josh Allen. He's such a dog.
Yeah,
I got him on my fantasy team this year.
Last
week he scored 52 points.
I saw that. That's crazy.
He had 6 touchdowns.
And Puka scored a shit.
Dude, I had him, Josh Allen. Dude, in one of my leagues last week, I scored 212 points.
Jeez.
Most I've ever scored in fantasy.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
And oh god, I'm sorry. Yeah.
You gotta find a bed, dog.
My cat, for anyone that's not watching the YouTube video, is trying to jump on something that I don't want him to jump on.
You just got a mean stiff arm.
Yeah, my bad. My bad, dog.
Derek on your stiff arm off it.
It's all good.
He's not stoked on that.
It's all right. All right. One thing I think we didn't do the best job of on the first podcast when I was watching it back, I think you might have mentioned this, is we didn't do a good job like fully introducing ourselves. I think we should just like go through that. Like also introducing like, all right, so first thing, let's introduce each other or not each other, but we can each introduce ourselves, and then we should just introduce like kind of like our, I guess like just like our relationship a little bit better. I know we talked about that we were both in college together, but I just feel like we didn't do like a thorough job on that. Okay. To like understand why people. Yeah. Like why are we doing this together? Okay. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, all right. First, I think you did a better job introducing yourself than I did. Definitely. Yeah. So my name's Kyle. I'm 28. I'm born and raised in Boulder. I never fucking learned how to read. Yeah, total idiot. Fucking, I don't know how I'm here. Ran like cross country and track in high school, and then used to be a big soccer player. Ended up running in college at Western, which is where Charlie and I met, and then left Boulder. Definitely didn't realize how amazing Boulder was until I went to college. Yeah. And then when I was in Gunnison quickly showed that I came from a pretty amazing spot, or was born and raised in a pretty amazing spot. So the second I graduated and left Western, moved back to Boulder, and stopped running, ran collegiately. Didn't the second I was done running collegiately, I didn't feel the urge to continue to compete at a high level at running. Not that I was ever running at a super high level by any means, but yeah, now I live in Boulder, work in Boulder, and I'm dating Val, which is
Nice.
probably
Constantine,
yeah, who's a dog,
two-time Olympian,
two-time
U.S.
Olympian, way
champ,
cooler than me,
very close to American record holder,
going to be
CU alum,
CU alum. Yep,
All-American.
yep. Met her in college. We both I ran the steeplechase, so like
Yeah,
she ran the steeplechase. So
icebreaker.
yeah,
I hope you didn't
she
use that
now
as your
has better
icebreaker.
PR than I do, which is
Yeah,
tough. Held on to that for a while until this year,
you did
actually.
hold on to. That's true. Much
Yeah,
longer than you needed to, honestly.
yeah,
For an Olympian, she should have
yeah,
beat that a while ago. But
yeah. Well, she had a couple rough years in the middle there.
yeah,
Yeah, but yeah. Anyways, yeah. Maybe you don't need to do it. I feel like I just didn't do a good job
yeah. I feel like
introducing
you
stuff.
said you work for like a software company, and then you're just like, buy and let's get back into UFC or something.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I mean, yeah, I mean, people know, I would say my at least followers who will see the stories know I'm a competitive runner or whatever, but what like they don't know, I mean, you work for a software company now, but in my perspective, when you were in school, that was you grad we talked about this last time, but you graduated my second year.
yeah. After your second year.
After my
Yeah,
second year, so that would have been 2018
yeah.
or fall or
No,
spring of
2019.
2019.
Yeah, spring of
Yeah. And then
2019.
you basically dipped out to Boulder to pursue this job that I wasn't super sure. I remember you told me about it when you had your interview or a interview, and then in my perspective, and I'd like to hear how it went down for your shoes, but in my perspective, you had a couple interviews for a legitimate job. So you had to
Yeah,
move back to Boulder, which is not a hot take.
yeah.
We talked about that last week, but you moved back and you started working for a private jet charter company.
Yeah. Well, the story on actually, I don't know if you remember this, but so yeah, so my senior year of college, I had no idea what I wanted to do for work.
Yeah, what did you major in? Or
I
you're in
majored in
grad school,
economics
right?
and marketing.
Yeah, and did you get a grad degree or no?
No, no, no. I got I double
Double major.
majored
Oh
and
yeah.
I minored in Spanish. Yeah,
Hmm.
which
Papacito.
that's not that. Yeah, no, Spanish is definitely a little rusty. But yeah, double majored in economics and marketing. Definitely like the economics piece better. But from like an economics degree, like basically the next step would be like you like an economics professor or something,
Mhm.
you know. So if I could go back and do it again, I'd probably do like economics and finance, but
Yeah.
finance wasn't a major at the time when I was like deciding on my double major. Anyways, yeah, I had no idea what I wanted to do my fifth year of college when I was like, okay, I need to get a job so I can pay for things. Because I mean, just like everyone, I was broke in college.
Right.
Um, but yeah, so Val and I started dating in the fall,
Of
and
the year
she
last
lived in
year.
Boulder. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So 2018, Val and I
Yeah.
started dating. We met. I mentioned this on the first podcast because I had to come back to Boulder,
Uh,
and I like met some friends, and through mutual friends, we like all like met one night. But yeah, I came back to. I was trying to figure out what I was gonna do because I needed to move back to Boulder, but I really didn't want to live with my parents
mhm.
just because like. But I also didn't have enough money, so I was like, I have to get a job, obviously.
Yeah.
And so I was networking with people like at Western.
Yeah.
And I met with a bunch of different people. And I went out, the funniest thing is I went out to get coffee with this like couple. They were like a
Mhm.
fairly successful couple in like the Gunnison Valley. And they
Mhm.
had a bunch of like salon businesses like in California. And then the guy was like, oh yeah, and I have this like I'm involved in this like aviation business based out in Broomfield, Colorado. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. And my family, my mom's side of the family is works in like commercial aviation.
Aviation is airplanes for those of
Yeah.
it IQ similar to mine.
Yeah. So, anyways, so I was like, oh, that's really cool. But the guy at this like coffee thing, he was so uninterested.
Wow.
I was like, wow, I just wasted like an hour. Like that guy fucking hates me.
Yeah.
Um, ended up being like a super cool guy. But anyways, like 2 or 3 months later, I just get this random text
From that guy.
from that guy.
Wow.
Not even, and his wife initially was the one who was like communicating with me and everything, but he
Mhm.
like took my number and thought of me.
Yeah.
And I also didn't know what I wanted to do because at the time, I don't know if you remember my senior year, I was like super into photography.
Yeah, I do remember
So I
that.
was like, well, I don't really like there's no pathway that I know of in economics besides becoming an economics professor. And I was so over school. I
Mhm.
wasn't going to go back to
Yeah.
more school for economics.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, maybe I'll get into like a marketing role. And like I'm really into photography, so that would be cool. And I kind of told them at this networking coffee thing that I met them at, that I was interested in like marketing, photo, video, something like that would be
Mhm.
cool. Anyways, I just get this like random text 3 months later. It was the weekend we were at CU for the CU outdoor meet.
Okay.
And I literally responded and I was like, hey, they were like, hey, I want you to meet my like business partner in this aviation business.
Mhm.
And I literally responded, and he was on the thread, the guy that he was introducing me to on this text thread. And I was like,
Wow.
hey, I don't know if this would work, but I'm literally in town like right now because I
Yeah.
stayed longer because everyone left
Yeah.
and Jen was all mad at me
Yeah.
because I stayed longer, but I stayed longer to hang out with Val. And so I stayed till Monday and I was going to come back Tuesday.
Mhm.
And so it was Monday. He hit me up and he was like, hey, you should meet my business partner. I was like, hey, I'm like in town right now. I could come meet you today.
Yeah.
And he was like, can you be here in 30 minutes?
Jeez.
And I was like, I literally had no idea like what
Yeah.
I knew nothing about like what anything about what it was. And literally was in Vans. Or yeah, Vans, I
The
think.
store.
No. Vans, like I had Vans shoes. Like
Oh,
I
you're
like
wearing
yeah,
Vans.
and I'm like going to like an
Yeah.
impromptu interview with
Yeah.
like skater jeans kind of and
Nice.
like Vans and like this like shitty button down that I think I took out of my dad's closet, which was probably too big.
Yeah.
And yeah, I go down there, I meet this guy, Greg, who ended up being just like a huge just like an awesome dude. And anyways, he so it ended up being a private aviation business. So basically they chartered jets to wealthy people or businesses. And like the guy was super cool and they interviewed me for a IT and marketing position, like
Wow.
split. So I was gonna make 15 bucks an hour. And they're like, hey, we should be doing marketing, but like the Greg, the CEO and owner of the business was like, I don't really know if we really need a marketing person,
Right.
but I'm gonna justify this because my business partner like introduced me. I'm gonna justify hiring you by saying 50% of your time you're gonna be our IT assistant. Because in
Nice.
college, I worked in IT at
I
Western.
remember
Yeah,
that.
which I
That was the
don't,
dream role.
I was not very knowledgeable about
The IT
IT. I sat
services.
at the IT front desk, but in my interview, I was like, oh yeah, I'm pretty familiar with some IT stuff. Yeah, anyway, so I got offered the job. But the cool thing was, is in the interview, he's like, "You want to go out into the hangar and look at airplanes?" And of course, I was like, "Yeah." So, yeah, so he took me out to the hangar and just like took me on a bunch of private jets, and I was like enamored. I
Yeah.
was like, "This is the coolest thing ever." Like, I'm like in. I don't care what you pay me, like just enough so I can pay whatever rent I'm gonna end up
Yeah.
paying. So yeah, I took a IT and marketing like assistant role that would they totally just made up for me.
Wow.
And
Kind of like a glorified intern, kind of.
yeah, totally. Like people there, like after 3 months, thought I was literally just there for the summer.
Yeah.
And they're
Like,
like,
what are you
"Oh,
here
well, you're
for?
still here. It's August."
I
Like,
need a coffee, damn
yeah.
it.
So, but basically, so what happened was I got into that role. The marketing piece was total BS because there was no like built out marketing team. I was like the only person. Basically, what it turned into is like I was managing their social medias, but there was no like in private aviation, it's all word of mouth.
Yeah.
So marketing was really unimportant,
For that crowd,
for
especially.
that
Yeah.
business.
People who are getting a private G or private plane aren't getting it like off of Instagram. They're
Yeah,
not just like, oh,
exactly.
I need
Right,
this.
exactly. It's all based on word of mouth.
Yeah.
And yeah, so anyways, so I started like I was working really hard and I was like I went all in on my career because I didn't have anything else going, like I wasn't still training.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is gonna be my thing.
Your job. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it
And
kind of has to be at some point.
yeah, well, and it was just like I always believed I could be like really good at something
Yeah.
because I felt like I was very good at working hard, but just running just for a lot of different reasons just never quite clicked for me in college. Anyways, yeah, so I sat in the hallway with all these sales guys.
Yeah.
so the business was called Mountain Aviation, which was a really cool company for the time I worked at it. But I sat in the hallway with all these sales guys, and they were constantly like talking about like, oh, 30 grand, for X trip. And
Yeah.
they were just like all like this like huge bro environment.
Any sales guy.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
but it was like hardcore. And like the manager, his name was Vargo, and he was also a super cool dude. And he just had like the ultimate bro energy.
Yeah.
And it was just like, man, like I think I could do that. And I was sitting in this like marketing IT role, and I was like, I have no idea what value I'm providing. And it
Yeah.
was kind of driving me crazy because I was working really hard, but I was like, honestly, I don't know if this is making a difference.
Yeah, that is frustrating.
So, um, so anyways, I went to our director of operations, who was Michael Vargo, who I just mentioned.
AKA D of Ops.
That's not no, no, he was our DO,
Uh,
director of operations. Um, and I was like, basically like, hey man, I think I could do a really good job selling. Like
yeah.
because I sat next to all these guys and I became friends with them, but I was like, I think I could do like equal or better job.
Yeah.
And kind of like campaigned on the fact that I could be on their sales team. And after like a month or two of me asking, they let me on their sales team. And then
So
I started
you're
selling.
that was after that was you were what, 23 probably? 22?
22.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
so you
think
just
so.
not necessarily called your shot, but basically said, I think I could at least hold my own, if not better, on
Yeah.
sales. And then they put you in sales.
Yeah. Well, I
And
basically was like, I was like, what do you guys have to lose? Like they were trying to
yeah,
hire for people, but I was like,
yeah.
I'm super motivated to like, just give me a shot.
And I'm
And
here.
yeah, exactly.
You're not gonna lose
And
anything.
and the CEO Greg was very uninterested
Mhm.
in like he wasn't sold on the whole marketing thing anyways. And the thing I basically learned was like there's not much here that we
Yeah.
really need to
I can't imagine what he's
I
doing right now.
I hold on. One sec.
Rocket
Okay.
was
All
making
right.
a noise, now he jumped
He
off.
jumped down. If you do that again. So where was I?
You were 22 and he basically
Yeah,
said
yeah.
you
Yeah.
have nothing to lose, but he wasn't sold on the marketing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Anyways, so I started selling. They let me on the sales team. And literally as I got into that role, I got into it 29 end of 2019, start of 2020.
Mhm.
So basically like kind of hit my stride in like February,
Okay.
and then COVID happened.
Yeah.
And that was I was like enamored with the job. I was like, this is so cool. I was like doing these like fairly large deals,
Yeah.
uh, like on a like just, and it was a volume thing. So we were doing wholesale. So I wasn't like going out and like finding the business. I did do like there was like retail and wholesale. Anyways, not to get into the weeds, but we were doing a lot of like high volume deals, but
Mhm.
it was like very quick. And it was super fun. It was like you'd sit in this, we were sat in this hallway, and
Mhm.
it was just like the broiest thing, like, oh, 30 grand, 40 grand, like, and everyone was just like hooting and hollering. It was so much fun. I just loved it.
Yeah,
And
I feel like that type of industry is sales in general. Like you can
oh yeah,
even if you're not good at it, like I have complete faith I could go in, close a 50K deal
yeah,
just once and be like, I just sold $50,000. I feel like that kind of number versus other sales that you have to be better at, you could be closing a $500 deal. And it's like, this is a way bigger deal. Actually will make me more money in the long run. But like, I just sold I chartered a private plane to X person for 50K.
yeah, yeah. It was crazy.
Yeah, it's like
It was crazy.
toxic masculinity.
No, it was so much fun. But
Yeah.
it was all like it was a huge relationship business. You basically created, the way you became more and more like you grew your success in the industry was
Mhm.
definitely by just creating really good relationships,
Yeah.
which was like probably one of the best career like lessons I ever learned was just like the importance of
Yeah.
relationships.
Right.
Um, but yeah, so then COVID happened,
Mm.
and it was like, oh, party is over. Like we're screwed.
Get a job, losers.
Yeah, yeah. It was bad. So yeah, we thought that we were all screwed. So basically, it was like a month, March and or maybe 2 months. March and April were like really slow-ish
Mhm.
because like, the world just stopped moving.
Yeah, you couldn't travel. Although private aviation was probably less affected than
Well, so
commercial.
that's what I was gonna say. So it was like March and April, like
Uh-huh.
when the whole thing happened, it was like a standstill kind of. We would be like, oh, we have to like work all night long. Like if someone calls us at like 1 a.m., we have to
Mhm.
be the company that's gonna like pick up and like
Right,
try to fly the trip or whatever.
right.
So we were working these like 24-hour shifts. It was crazy. We weren't selling very much, but then like private aviation went like crazy.
Yeah.
Like the world just woke up enough.
When people realized you could technically go places.
Yeah, you just had to like get there safely and people didn't want to go on commercial.
Yeah, yeah.
So literally, dude, it was like the fuse was lit and it just went crazy. Like we were turning down we were in like the perfect if you're ever in a sales position, there was way more demand than we ever had airplanes to actually like fly all of the trips.
Wow.
Yeah. So we were at that point, it wasn't as fun in the office because none of us were in the office because that was still the case. Like all
Yeah.
non-essential like in-office people weren't.
Mhm.
But so we were just all working at home, but yeah, I mean there was nothing to do. I was working like crazy, crazy hours, but
Because there's nothing to do.
there was literally
And
nothing
you
to
had the
do.
demand.
And yeah, but it just turned out to be the craziest thing.
You're just raking it in.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah.
It was just like the coolest experience from a job perspective.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean it was basically like I would say it was probably the golden age of like private aviation
Hmm.
because there was so much demand. Everyone in the whole industry was just crushing it
Yeah.
because there was just so much demand and everyone wanted to fly privately and not commercially. And yeah, I mean, I probably had like the all-time greatest sales job,
Yeah.
like right out of college.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. And I just loved it. But then, yeah, kind of just slowly started to fall apart.
Once commercial came back.
No, so there was, I mean, for the next few years, like that kind of like I would say golden age probably lasted for like a year and a half, 2 years, where there was just so much demand and or people got the take because when COVID happened, right, the government like created a bunch of stimulus.
Uh-huh.
So all these people all of a sudden had shit tons of money.
Yeah.
Right, like the stock market went up a bunch right after COVID. So
Yeah.
a lot of people were making a lot of money. So there was also not only was there a lot of new demand from people that already flew privately,
Mhm.
there was all this new demand
The
for
stimmy checks.
yeah, but like yeah, for people that had a little bit more money.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyways, the company was so successful. We basically when I started, they were doing like less than $50 million a year in revenue. And like by the time I left, it was like $250 million in revenue.
Jeez.
So like the company in like a span of like 2 years, basically 3 years. No, yeah, I guess 2 years. Basically, you know, over quadrupled in size,
Someone say quintupled.
quintupled, quintupled.
My
Yeah,
math checks out. That's a quintuple.
yeah, it is a quintuple. And we sold to a larger business.
Wow. Yeah, I
Um,
remember that.
yeah. So then we sold to a larger business, and I worked at that business for like 2 years. So Mountain Aviation was purchased by this company called Wheels Up, who went public. And yeah, I mean, for a lot of reasons, like the business just changed, and I like moved out of the sales role, which I like loved.
Yeah.
But because the business was changing, like our whole sales team changed. And anyways, yeah, I got into this role that was no longer sales, and I really didn't like it.
Hmm.
And yeah, ultimately just kind of like burned out and
Yeah.
realized I wanted to get back into sales.
And that
So
was pretty recent.
yeah, yeah. Well, so in 2023, like the company Wheels Up was doing terribly.
Hmm.
There was all these like red flags. The company has survived, but there was definitely like a period of time where it was pretty uncertain.
Hmm.
They've done a lot better, but they got like a bunch of investment from like Delta and stuff.
Yeah.
Anyways, it was just like the right time. Like I was like I didn't really enjoy what I was doing. And I wanted to get back into sales, but I also wanted to get back into like a much more like scalable
Hmm.
like life because all the people that I was around didn't have like good work-life balance or anything like that. It
Hmm.
was like work all the time. And that was like aviation because aviation was 24/7.
Right.
And I was like, I just don't. And like the other, like the sales guys that I looked at that were like my peers, that if I went back into selling in private aviation, you're just like the kind of the same story, just like terrible work-life balance, maybe not always the best like family
Right.
like situations or whatever. And I just didn't really want that.
Hmm.
I could kind of see like because if you want to get back into it, you have to be constantly available.
Right.
You have to have your phone on you all the time,
Right.
constantly be available. And it was like the perfect job to like learn and like invest in your career.
Especially out of college
Yeah,
when you don't
because
have much else.
yeah, like I got into sales, which I think sales is probably like the most valuable like thing as a person to learn because like sales drives all businesses.
Hmm.
Um, And yeah, it was just like invaluable experience. I went from like a business that was like booming, went through all this growth, then they got like sold, then the company that bought us went public, which I
Hmm.
like was working closely with like a bunch of like our leadership team on because our CEO became like an executive. The CEO of the business I was a part of became an executive at the new at Wheels Up and I was really close with him, so he kind of brought me along, and that's how I got into a non-sales role.
Mm.
Anyways, yeah, and then the company went from being like public, this big deal, to then like really being on the rocks of like
Going downhill.
yeah, going downhill and trying to figure things out.
Yeah.
And that like I could talk all day about this because it's a super interesting. But yeah, anyways, it was just like time to leave, like at a
Yeah.
certain point. So middle of 2023,
Uh-huh.
I was like, I gotta get out of here. And I
Mm.
really didn't like what I didn't like what I was doing. That was the biggest thing.
Yeah.
And like the work-life balance was also just getting to me because I didn't like what I was doing.
Yeah.
So like I was working way too much and I just didn't enjoy what I was doing as much. And the company was struggling, so it also felt like a little bit hopeless.
Hmm.
Whereas like, man, I'm working really hard, but I don't know if it's actually doing anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, so then I was like, I know I want to get back into sales and but I need to get into a different industry. Like I
Yeah.
can't stay in private aviation if
Yeah.
I want to have like a good overall life.
Yeah.
So then, like software basically
Yeah.
was where I'd heard a lot of good things from like other like peers of mine that like software was like good industry. So I took a huge step back. I actually went down to like a business development representative role.
BDR.
Yeah, BDR, which is like not like I was full selling like in aviation
Hmm.
for years, right? I probably came into that BDR role with like significantly more closing experience than like
Hmm.
most people would ever. But unfortunately, like switching the sales cycle, sales process is totally different.
Yeah.
So I was hard at the time. I was also in a rush because I was trying to get out of the company quickly.
Yeah.
So I wasn't like on the job hunt for a while. If I probably looked for jobs longer, I probably could have gotten a better starting role. But anyways, yeah, so I got a good job offer from Klaviyo as a BDR, and honestly, it worked out perfectly. Klaviyo is a marketing software company. They do like email and SMS marketing and a whole bunch of other things, basically using data to like
Yeah.
market to people effectively.
Yeah. If
Uh,
anyone has a job, most likely they
it,
use Klaviyo or something similar
yeah, if
for marketing.
for email and SMS marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah. Like,
yeah,
yeah, when you started working there, I didn't know Koros used it, but now I do know, like, we have two Klaviyo accounts and
yeah,
we use it very often. And it's like, it's just like one of those things that you don't realize is like not people typing out emails that are just like sending out to a full contact list. There's software behind that. It's like
yeah. And
way
it's
easier to offload
super
for a company, which makes way more sense for a big company, especially. But yeah, like SMS, email marketing, it's definitely not just people typing all that out. Or it's, I mean, people type it out obviously, but it's not just a mass email. It's there's going through different companies.
Yeah, I mean, it's a cornerstone. Like any business that sells anything online, a lot of them use Klaviyo, like through their own sites, not through Amazon or
Right.
whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, Klaviyo is like a cornerstone for like most online e-commerce businesses marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we also work with non-e-commerce businesses, but
Yeah.
anyways, so yeah, and it's gone really well. I'm like went out, like was in a BDR position for until I qualified to be an AE, and then now I'm an account executive, and things are going well.
Let's go.
Yeah, so and
So,
definitely
yeah.
better work-life balance. People don't like working on 24/7.
Yeah, way, but I've noticed that for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah. And
yeah,
obviously that translates to you're getting into more stuff like a podcast or mountain biking or you're watching UFC or playing Fortnite versus
yeah,
I mean when I was in school I would call you once a week because we were like still close enough and you either unavailable or you'd just be like typing away and I'd just be like ranting to you about what's going on at Western am I running and you just be like wait say that again like I'm closing a deal right now it's like oh bro like I don't know if this is good and then even when I got here you were still kind of you're at wheels up, so it wasn't mountain anymore, but it was still kind of like you do work nonstop. Like my first year here, and it was also I was in school and had a lot more going on with like switching to a new place and whatnot. But I feel like we maybe watched like one UFC, and like I
yeah.
rarely saw you really, but it was like we're in the same place. Boulder is big, but it's not that big,
No,
and it's like we didn't really see each other. And then yeah, I remember you went to Clavio, and now since that seems like more of a job, like more of a yeah, like a job. Like I have a job and I have a
yeah,
really good work-life balance, but like
yeah.
what you had before was just like sales. Like that was your
No,
life.
that was my life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
that
was
was
like
like your
totally
life
like a
kind of.
workaholic, and I thought I was like super enamored by that job
Yeah.
originally,
Yeah.
and that took a long time to wear off to realize that it wasn't the best situation,
Mhm.
especially after I got out of the sales role. Um, yeah, but it just like I think I graduated college and I was very convinced that I could be successful.
Yeah.
I really struggled in running
Yeah.
and like with injuries and all sorts of other shit. So I was just convinced that like if I pursued something with like the work ethic I had,
Yeah.
I could crush it.
Yeah.
And then like this whole situation just like kind of created itself.
Mhm.
And it was just kind of like the perfect storm for me. I just like locked in.
Yeah. Well, say, I
And
mean, sales is a lot, like there's a lot of similar attributes like
yeah,
as being an athlete. Like you
yeah.
have like it rewards hard work.
Yeah,
It
and that's what I
rewards
loved about it. I could
dedication.
compete against like my peers,
Yeah.
which what I loved.
Yeah.
Like that was the thing I was missing too. Like I didn't have like a form of competition like
Yeah.
in the marketing role.
Mhm.
And then I started competing against my peers, and that was like addicting. And
Yeah.
also closing deals is addicting.
Yeah.
That is like a hit of adrenaline like every time. I
Yeah.
just loved that.
Yeah.
So it was just like this perfect storm for
Yeah.
me.
Right.
And I was also too like making really good money. And so it was like,
Mm.
you go from being like a college kid with nothing and then being like, I have a few dollars.
Yeah.
Like this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But also, yeah, anyways, so it was honestly like I feel like I packed in so much experience in those first 4 years of my career
Yeah. I would say
that
that.
like it gave me such like great perspective. Like one, I realized like, okay, if I was ever in a position in my life that I had to work like over 100 hours a week, okay, I know I can do that.
Yeah.
And yeah, just and also just like yeah, anyways, experiencing all these different things in business. But yeah, just like really set me up well to like honestly, it also gave me a good perspective. Like I'm glad I didn't go through that stuff later in life. And then
Right.
I don't know, because
Yeah.
now I have like a lot better perspective of like, okay, I went to some pretty serious, I felt like extremes in
For
work,
sure. Yeah.
and now I know that
And
like,
you've seen the extremes too. Like
yeah,
how
in other people.
right.
Yeah, that was the thing. Like aviation definitely had a lot of
Yeah.
extreme scenarios.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and I'm glad I got that like experience early on, but it also like kind of was formative for
Yeah.
me to like
Yeah.
be like, okay, what do I really want out of work?
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is like, yeah, I want to be able to make good money and enjoy what I do, but it also shouldn't be the only thing I do.
Yeah.
And the only thing I like can look, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember you telling me when you were still at Wheels Up, you're and I think it was probably more common at Mountain, but you would say and you've never like you're not like one of those people that's just like I need to like settle down and like start a family. I don't have like
Yeah.
wild ambitions to like really just work 9 to 5 and then like watch football and like that's it. Just kind of
Yeah.
live like that kind of corporate world. But when you notice like all my coworkers are divorced or like their wives hate them or like they're never at home and like I'm in college or I'm just out of college so I can do that and it's like Val's training and then she goes to sleep and like I really come home and go to sleep and come back to work because like I'm not losing anything, but
Yeah.
like all these guys or girls who have kids and a family, I don't know when they see, and when you told me that, it's like that's crazy because I mean it makes sense. It's just like rewarding you getting caught up in the sales thing, and it's like very similar to sports. And if you work super hard, you can lose that work-life balance super quick, or like I don't know, sport life balance super quick. And when you said that, and then also we're able to realize that it's not just like I want to get to where this person is because they're above me and they're making more money than me. But when you're like all these guys are divorced or like their wives all hate them or like they tell stories about how they worked like 110 hours last week, but like
Yeah.
they missed their kids' games. Is like you don't have to be someone who's missing your kids' games. Like that was definitely the polar extreme.
Yeah.
But because you're able to realize that while you were still 23 and 24, I think that helped you out so much.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, yeah, it was just like such an interesting for me. It was just like I look back on it. I like miss the like set some of the sales
Yeah.
parts. Like I just don't think I mean, I hope one day maybe I'll find something that was like that exciting.
Yeah.
But it was like I've never done crack, but like it was fucking cool, man.
Disclaimer, never done
Yeah,
that.
never done it. But dude, it was just like so addicting. And
Yeah.
that was it. Yeah. Anyways.
I mean, it's yeah, like a similar rush. Like people find those rushes in different stuff.
Well, it
But
was like, dude, I'm having so much fun at work.
yeah,
Like I was like so excited to go to work. And I'm
right.
not saying I'm still excited to work. Like I enjoy my job,
But
but
when you see the direct payout, or like
well, it
you're
was like I'm
immediately
having so
rewarded.
much fun
Yeah,
and I'm getting paid well. Like,
yeah.
dude,
I'm good at my
I
job.
found the
Yeah,
like break in the matrix and just like
yeah.
got in there. Yeah. So
I'm good at my job and I know it, but I'm also being rewarded immediately.
yeah, well, that was the thing too. Like that, yeah, there was no in sales. That's one of the things I love too. I mean, the more corporate in the like corporate world, just in general, there's always politics or whatever.
Yeah,
But at a small, like, we were a very small company. Like there was 5 people or 6, 7 people on the sales team, and it was just like you're here to sell. Like
Mhm.
there's no BS.
Yeah.
Like there was no meetings or anything. It was just yeah, it was fun.
Wow.
It was crazy, but yeah, it gave me a lot of like really good perspective on like it just like kind of made me like step back and be like, what do I want out of my life?
Yeah.
And I think also too when you're making money, at a certain point it's like I would have to make so much more money
Mhm.
to for my life to change at all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I have like a house and a car, like
Yeah.
what else do I need?
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Once you
that
get to that point, it is, and it's, I think it's a lot of like some people struggle with that still. And like you just lose sight of like, oh, I need to save or I need to like
yeah.
continue to try to work up the company. And it's like, well, what's gonna change? Like
Yeah.
unless I'm making significantly more, like double a salary or whatever, like maybe I could get a nicer house or like get a second house and take a different vacation. But
Yeah.
at this point, when you have enough that you can spend money on what you want
Yeah.
immediately
Yeah.
and like reward yourself or like I want to go on vacation or I want to go like buy a new car or I want to go to Paris or something, I can do it.
Yeah.
What else, like aside from wasting money, what else do you really need? You
Yeah.
don't need
No, you
anything
don't
else.
need anything.
Yeah,
And I think that's the interesting thing. Like I feel super fortunate to have been in that position. Like
yeah,
I know that like a lot of people aren't in that. Like that it was kind of just like the perfect storm. Like I worked really hard, but I also like really believe I was in the right place at the right
for
time.
sure. Yeah.
And like I just got like kind of lucky.
Mhm.
There's no doubt about it. But yeah, I mean it also just like yeah, honestly like the biggest like all the other things were great, but honestly it was like the life it sounds super corny, but the life lessons I learned from that were like I think the going to be the most valuable things I take from
Yeah,
like
for
over
sure.
time.
Yeah,
So
yeah, which is crazy
yeah,
to
but
realize it now. But I
yeah,
mean, yeah, pivoting. I mean, that's Kyle's intro.
yeah,
His
that took
short,
up
his
way
elevator
too long.
pitch.
Jesus Christ. We just spent I don't even
But
know how long we were talking about that for.
yeah, we you talked about cars, and so we have to address the fact that you just bought a new car.
Well, you bought a new car too.
I also bought a new car, but
So,
yeah,
all
I
right.
guess I
Well,
bought
no,
one
I've been
first.
talking for a while. Why don't you tell everyone the car you got? Because your car's pretty sweet.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, in college, I mean, I've had a crazy car journey, I would say. In high school, I drove a, I don't even know what the year
Wait,
would be.
shout out by the way. We both
I'm getting
had
to that, bro. Uh,
Oh,
In
we
high
gotta talk
school, I
about that.
drove my parents had a sweet minivan, a Ford Windstar. That was dope. At the time in college, obviously, I didn't think it was dope. And then I drove my daily driver to school in college. Oh man, it was a Ford Escape, so like a 2012
So
Ford
you drove a
or
car
Escape.
to like high
My
school and
senior
stuff?
year, yeah,
Oh,
you
I
could
did
park.
not have
I had a
that.
half day in my senior year,
That's
so
cool.
and then I got to college in Gunnison, obviously super far away from home. Didn't have a car, and then I was like, I need to get a car. Ideally, I'll get a
You got a
whatever.
car your third year?
I got a car. I got a truck. So I basically, it's a crazy story. I went home for summer break after my first year, which I redshirted at Western. I didn't have a car that whole year and like really only ate at the cafeteria and really only went to my dorm and like the library. So I didn't really know what Gunnison was. Not that Gunnison has lots to offer, but I never went to any real restaurant. I never went to Crescent Butte. And so I was like, I need a car, like just to be able to get to the airport or whatever. And so my grandpa had a 2003 Ford F-150, or
Hmm.
yeah, it had to have been 03, 06, I don't know, one of those. And I told him, I was just like, hey, I'm looking for a car. Like, can I buy your F-150 off of you? He's like, yeah, for sure. And I was like, at the time, I was just like shooting my shot. Like, of course, he's not going to sell me his F-150. No way. Because I'm not going to drive it 28 hours to get to Western. He's like, yeah, for sure. How much you thinking? And I was like, oh shit. Like I'm not
You're like,
prepared to
didn't
have
know
this
what to
conversation
offer.
right now. And I also just finished my first year of college, so I'm dead broke.
Yeah.
I'm like scrounging to save up money, and I probably, if I had to guess, I probably had like $300 in my bank account. So I'm just like, Grandpa, I'm sorry, man. Oh, I call him Bubba, but I was like, I'm sorry, man.
You gotta call him Bubba. Do the
Yeah.
story
I was like,
justice.
Bubba, I'm sorry. I was just like joking. Like I
Yeah.
appreciate this, but sorry. Like I do need a car though. Like if you want to give it to me. He's like, how much money do you have on you right now? In my wallet. And it was I swear, I went home for probably 2 weeks that first summer and then came back to Gunnison. But that day I had literally one or maybe $2 bills in my wallet. And he's like, how much do you have on you right now? And I was like, no, it's okay. Like I'll just go home. He's like, no, how much do you have? And I was like, because I was like mowing lawns, like just doing like chores and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm gonna get a job in Gunnison. Like, can I call you when I get there? He's like, how much do you have right now? Tell me. And I was like, I don't know. He's like, are you gonna look or no? And I was like, I can look. Open my wallet, two George Washingtons. Just Bubba, I have $2. He's like, I'll write the bill of sale. Bill of
What?
sale,
You've never
two
told me
dollars.
this.
Yeah, bro, two
I didn't even know
dollars.
you had a truck.
Well, that's the thing. So he sold me the truck, which I'm forever grateful for, obviously. But so yeah, he sold me the truck,
For
and then
$2.
it was like $1 to $3. My grandma
Okay.
knows for sure, and they saved the money. They never. Oh, obviously it's $1 to $3. So they
Yeah.
never deposited it. It's in a frame at home. But
That's no way. That's so
and
cool.
so I was like, well, now I have this truck. How am I going to get it to Gunny? And my mom
Yeah.
was like, you cannot drive the 28 hours to Gunny because I was 19.
How old was the truck?
This would have been the spring of 2018. So I was 19
No, I know, but
and the truck was 15 years old.
okay,
And
okay.
it had like 60,000 miles on it because he just
Oh,
drives
that's
it
not
like to
that
the
bad.
dump and back. And that was it. And so I was like, I can't drive it to Gunnison. I bought this truck. My parents didn't really know about it at first. And I was like,
Yeah, well,
Bubba sold me his truck.
yeah, for $3.
Yeah. And they're like, I didn't know you had that much money. I was like, I don't. You sold this to me for $3. So long story short, I believe like the family paid for it to get shipped out to Colorado.
Okay.
And so it got shipped out to the Springs, and then I picked it up in the Springs, drove it to Gunnison. So stoked on my life. Like, I have a truck.
That
Like,
is
always
crazy.
wanted a truck. And then I had it for maybe a month in the summer, and then I took it up to Crescent Butte, took it on like one of those fire roads, like a dirt road, caught a flat tire. So within a month, I had to like change. I was like way out, like no cell service. Had to change the flat tire. And I was like, oh man, whatever. And then it just like kept getting worse. Like the '03 or '06, whatever year was, F-150s were just like notoriously bad. And
Really?
I didn't really know how to drive a truck at the
Mm,
time. So like gunny winters, I was like useless. Like I couldn't really
yeah.
drive. I was just like skirting everywhere and like couldn't figure it out. And so, and then it developed like a really bad engine knock,
Really?
really bad. And I didn't know what it
Wait,
was.
how do I not remember this?
Because
I don't remember you having a
I
truck.
swear I had it for maybe 6 months. Like it was
Dude,
very
what
short term.
the
But
heck?
basically, like it was like the third or fourth problem it had, and I was just like, I can't afford to keep doing this. Like
Yeah.
A, I can't afford gas. That was my biggest thing.
Yeah, that thing would have been expensive.
And then B, I can't afford to keep like rotating the tires and the engine knocked now. So it's like I just gotta sell it. So yeah, I called Bubba. He's like, yeah, you can sell it, whatever. So I sold it for $2,000. So like, I
Not bad
mean,
chunk of
already
change.
pretty good. I'm up 20 or $1,900. And and then I bought the Honda Odyssey, which was the exact same car you had for $2,200.
How much
And
shit did you catch for that? So I moved to when I left Boulder, I got a 2004. Yours was a 2002, right?
oh one.
Oh, one.
Yeah.
Okay, I had a 2004 Honda Odyssey.
But yeah, same body type. And
Yeah, it looked
yours was nicer,
exactly the
but on the
same.
outside it looked the same.
Yeah, it's the same. Anyways,
Yeah. And so I bought that my second year and then drove it back to Gunnison. It was the craziest deal probably I'll ever get. I mean, aside of the truck, obviously the truck's the craziest deal, but it had like 160K on a Honda Odyssey, a minivan, just like really nicely taken care of for $2,200.
yeah,
And so I had that for since last year, really. So I had it
yeah,
for 2019 to 2023. So 4 years. I put like 25K on it. That thing was my baby. I loved minivans. But yeah, I
dude.
caught so much shit because it was the same car you had.
Yeah,
And as everyone's like, oh, you want to be Kyle? I was like, I
you
mean, at
missed
the time I
me.
did,
You
but
did.
also like it's all-wheel drive. Like I can fit 10 of my homies in the back.
Dude, they were
The
the
gas mileage
fucking
was great.
shit. They were.
Moving was so
Oh,
easy.
man,
Yeah. And
I
so
fucking miss my fucking Honda Odyssey
yeah.
so much, dude.
Yeah. And then I got here and I got my job and I was like, I'm making money now. Like I need to get a better car that doesn't have 190K on it and like that I'm like, not that I wasn't proud of it, but I'm like stoked on. And so I was
Yeah,
looking at like it was actually a year ago, last Christmas, I was looking at with Bubba too, like Audi A5, just like coupes, like sporty coupes. I was like,
that'd be sick.
I want something sporty that I can like punch, but
Yeah,
not something that's like impractical.
yeah,
And like that's not gonna send me into like oblivion.
yeah, yeah.
And so
Sure.
he's like, you should look at just like a sporty coupe. And so I was like, yeah, Audi A5s. There's like a long like your classic like Chargers and stuff, just like souped up coupes. And then I was like, like I still kind of move and I still kind of run at mags and stuff. Like I can't take an A5 up there.
Yeah,
And so then I was looking at trucks again. I was like, I had such a bad experience with a truck, but I just love trucks.
yeah.
And so yeah, I went and long story short, now I own a 2024 Tacoma, which is sick.
Off-road, right?
Sport,
Oh,
2V
okay, sport,
sport.
sport.
So yeah, it's like fine tuned towards to the roads. It's not or lifted or anything, but yeah, there's a long list of stuff I want to do to it. But yeah, I bought that in March. And so I've had it for 9 months now. And that thing is my baby. It's all black, tinted
It's sick.
windows. Yeah, I
It's a
love
sick
it.
looking
It's
truck.
it drive. I mean, I got rid of the minivan because there was a alignment issue and I got new tires and I dropped like $700 on that and the alignment issue didn't get fixed. And then a control arm went out and I was like, I can either put more money than I bought this for into it or save up and then buy a truck.
Yeah,
And
dude.
so yeah, I bought the truck in March.
Yeah, the truck is sick. I remember one time just on the minivan. You remember you went on a trip like to race in Cali or something,
Yeah.
and you're like, "Hey, can you move the truck or can you move the van like out of the parking lot so you can get a ticket
Yeah.
or something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that?"
yeah. And that's you.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I went in and like moved your car. Dude, that thing was rough.
Dude, it
Compared
was.
to mine,
It got really bad.
it was like,
Yeah.
holy shit, how is this thing running?
Yeah, it was like, yeah, just a lot of, I mean, it was just really old and it was still super reliable. Like it started every time, like no
Dude,
problem.
I never
But
had that
driving, like,
happen.
it got to the point last year I was driving to races, like driving to the airport to go to races that I was scared to drive to the airport. And
Yeah,
like I was scared to have anyone else drive it because I was like, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's
yeah,
just like super scary to drive. And I was like, I
yeah,
can't have this car if I want to drive anywhere further than the airport, which is
yeah,
40 minutes.
yeah.
It's like if I'm scared to drive this thing to the airport for my life, like I need a new car. So yeah, I
Uh,
bought the Tacoma in 20 or in March and I've had it for 9 months and yeah, I love that thing. Yeah, I love it. It's great. I mean, it's
Good car. It'll last forever. It's a
should
Toyota.
last forever. Yeah, it's a polar. If you know anything about Tacomas, it's a polarizing car because it's a brand new engine, brand new drivetrain, like brand new everything. New. You wouldn't recognize it on the road if you didn't know it was a
The
Tacoma.
turbocharged four-cylinder, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I love that thing is my baby. I love it. Super reliable. I like it a lot, and at the
Well,
same point,
yours was kind of messed up for a minute.
yeah. Well, I had to.
Yeah.
It's still reliable. I replaced
Not a
the
fault of the
rear
car.
right. The rear diff had like a leak, and so I because it was still under warranty because of a new car, I replaced the rear axle, but I didn't notice it. Like it was
Yeah.
still a Tacoma. I can take that thing, like it can rip on the roads, it can rip on the trails. It gets close to like 22 miles per gallon, which is like good enough for a truck.
I thought it was more than that. It's not more than that.
Yeah, average is like 22,
Oh,
like in
okay.
Boulder, and then yeah, going to the airport, I pull like 28. So it's like
Is it also a hybrid? Or is
no,
it?
but they make hybrids.
Oh, okay.
So
The like top of the line ones are hybrids. That's how they get the extra power, I think, right?
it's like yeah, like the
TRD
TRD
Pro.
Pros and then
Yeah.
the Tundras have more hybrid options. But yeah, they make hybrids. But yeah, I drive the Tacoma.
It's a sick looking truck.
Yeah.
It's like murdered out. Everything's black from the
Yeah.
factory too.
Wait, yeah, which is yeah, it's all stock aside from I tinted the front windows.
Yeah.
So like yeah, eventually I'd like to do it. I mean, obviously like ideally I'll pay it off in full pretty soon. And then at that point, I've told myself once I pay it off in full, I'll start like I have a full list, like
Yeah.
bigger tires, different wheels, like all like everything I want, running boards, like all the bells and whistles that are gonna make it really look
Crazy.
super custom. And that's what I like about Tacoma and like trucks in general, but like Tacomas, everyone seems to have a Tacoma and Boulder,
Hmm.
but so many of them are different. Like people, it's so easy to mod. So yeah,
Yeah.
and it's
Well, they're
like
like I think they're the most like modified, one of the most modified
yeah,
cars.
because it's like you can put it comes stock and you can put way bigger tires and come stock and you can switch out the wheels and you can do a lot to a Tacoma because it is like a mid-sized truck versus like you're not really messing with anything aside from like the gas mileage if you mess with the tires and then you can really just go from there because it's a pretty yeah easily modded. But
What's the mod that you most want to do to the truck?
I would say if I would just get bigger tires.
Yeah, I think bigger tires would like
Yeah, because
transform
I wouldn't have to
how
lift
crazy it would
it
look.
at all, really. If I got just like, yeah, a bit bigger tires, I wouldn't have to lift it. Ideally, I'd like to lift it like an inch or
I
two
think
just to
2 inch
start.
lift of the Tacoma
Yeah.
is pretty
But
sick.
even right now, if just one thing would be bigger tires because it wouldn't rub. I wouldn't have to lift it for even just like a set of like BF Goodriches or like Falcon Wild Peaks. Like it just looks nice. It fills out the wheel wells really well. So that would be my one thing. But yeah, I'd like to get that. The wheels I'm iffy about still, but they're nice.
I think the wheels are pretty cool. They're like that like dark
Yeah,
gray, blackish color.
yeah, with some
Yeah.
chrome accents, and then yeah, the lifts, running boards, obviously, and then you can get like I'd like to change the exhaust on it, like to a TRD Pro exhaust. It just yeah, the list is endless. But
Exhaust go a long way.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I would say, okay, so I would say from a look perspective, the tires would probably make it look the coolest, like most immediately.
right. It's the
But from
easiest.
like your day-to-day enjoyment,
Yeah,
probably be an exhaust.
yeah, that's where I'm
Exhaust,
different.
like,
Yeah. It sounds so
yeah,
crispy. And I've listened to them, like you can definitely switch out the exhaust super quick and they make them and take it to a shop and yeah, you swap
be
it out.
expensive though.
It would be expensive, especially in labor, but yeah, just like I mean, obviously it's not a fast car, it's still a truck at the end of the day, but it is turbocharged. And if you had a different exhaust than what I have on it right now, it would just be a different like growl
Yeah.
and it would just sound like I mean
Dude, I don't
it
know
would
what it
sound
is.
nice.
Yeah, it would sound sick. It would sound sick. No, it's a sick truck. And those new body styles for that Tacoma look cool.
I think so.
Super
Yeah,
cool.
they're
I
like
think all the Tacomas have looked cool, but I think it's the best looking one.
yeah, they're lifted a little bit higher than the old Tacomas. Like if you think of a Tacoma right now, they're a little wider, and they're a tad longer. So it's just like more, it's like if you put that, I drive by like some old Tundras in Boulder every so often, and it's bigger than like an old Tundra,
Yeah.
which is crazy. It's just like everything is getting bigger, but like yeah, I mean, it's close to a full-size truck. Like it's a truck. It's
Yeah.
not just
It would
like
have
a
been interesting to put
smaller.
next to my truck at the
Yeah,
time.
yeah. I mean, once you compare it to like a full-size truck, like a Tundra or like even like a, I don't know, a F350, F250, like it's not a full-size
It's
truck.
not as big as an F-350. Those things are
No, like
huge.
if you're sitting in the back seat, you're kind of cramped.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it is bigger than like historical
Yeah.
Tundra
You
or
don't
Tacoma truck.
necessarily want to throw like four people in that all the time.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, it's not like a family
But
daily
also like
driver.
when are you really doing that much?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I think I've driven people in the back like front seat and back seat, maybe like single digits, like
Yeah.
5 times, 6 times, like,
Same.
and they don't really mind it because it's like driving from Boulder to Chipotle, and or like driving from my house to Chipotle, or like from a run back to Boulder. It's like that no one really cares.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, nice.
But
Yeah, pretty sick though.
yeah, I'm stoked on it. But also VM2.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I got like a kind of like a dream car of mine.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, you did say that first time I wrote in it. You're like, this is my dream car.
Yeah. So you've heard of like Top Gear
Yeah.
and then like those guys, Jeremy Clarkson, all those guys, they went over to Amazon
Mhm.
and they did the Grand Tour.
Mhm.
One of the first episodes in the first season, because I think that I'm trying to remember, I think it was the year it came out, but Jeremy Clarkson reviewed like the brand new M2 because basically BMW they wanted to create, like cars have just gotten bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
And so all these sports cars are getting bigger. So like basically BMW's like sports car lines were like the smallest one was like, like the M3.
Yeah.
But then those cars just kept getting bigger and bigger. So all the
Yeah.
car enthusiasts wanted like a smaller coupe.
Yeah.
So in 2016, BMW created like the M2.
Mhm.
Anyways, Jeremy Clarkson reviewed it and was like, "This is the best BMW they've ever made."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Fuck yes!" It's like anyway. So I always wanted that car, and in like 2 years ago, I bought a Toyota Tundra because Val and I had terrible cars. We still have
Yeah.
one terrible car, which I
It
love.
was laughable how terrible your cars were because you own a house in Boulder, which is like I feel like a life goal for some people. Like, but your cars were like, what is going on here? Like I mean, it was similar like ballpark to like mine, like
Yeah,
the
no.
Odyssey is
Well,
like
no, that
there's
no,
like
it wasn't that bad.
it
That
wasn't
audit
that bad,
from a
but
driving perspective, but from a look, it was
yeah, it's
similar.
like this door sticks. Don't roll down the window. Like
Yeah,
I'm not super stoked. Like you wouldn't be like, not that you shouldn't be stoked on any car you have, but like you're
yeah,
not like parking and looking back at it and
yeah.
like, wow,
Well, so the two cars Val and I had, so I moved back to Boulder. My Honda Odyssey got totaled
yeah,
on my way home. Literally, I had that car from the almost the exact moment I left for college to
yeah,
the literally the trip home with all my shit in the Honda Odyssey.
yeah,
The timing belt broke and totaled the car because I was so poor and I was too lazy. There was like some squeaks for like a year every time I started it, which were clearly the belts. And I was just like, ah, it's fine. And literally the timing belt fell off on my way home
yeah,
to Boulder, which honestly was best case scenario because my parents helped me move out.
yeah,
Because dude, there was times where I was driving in like horrific blizzards, like through
yeah,
South Park. Like, can you imagine?
yeah,
Like, I would have died probably.
probably, yeah.
Yeah. Anyways. So, anyways, that car broke. I got a Honda Accord from like a neighbor in our old neighborhood for like 2 grand. It
I
was
rode in that
super
one.
nice. It was
Yeah,
super nice.
yeah,
I totaled it in a
I
snowstorm
remember
because
that.
I hit a patch of ice. I mean, I was probably driving a little too fast too.
Yeah,
Anyways, lost control, hit a ditch, totaled it, like broke all the suspension, which was actually pretty scary. I was totally fine though. And then I was, so this is like, I still didn't have really any money.
yeah,
I had like just kind of started making money,
yeah,
but it was like, oh, you could go buy a car for 10 grand
yeah,
and you get like a nice car or nicer car.
right.
And we were at this place called, and this actually ties into the story of the M2
Uh-huh.
as well. I haven't talked to you about this probably. But so we bought it from Boulder Cars. Or
Yeah.
sorry. So I'm looking for cars. We go to this local dealership called Boulder Cars. They sell like used cars
Mhm.
of all types, mostly nicer cars.
Right.
My mom somehow knows like one of the owners of this place. I have no idea how.
Yeah.
Dude, they have this like actual piece of shit car. This Nissan Sentra. And he's like, I'll give you this car for $900. And I'm like, nine? Like, I'm not like, but it was like a total piece of shit. And I was like, there's no way I'm getting this car, like whatever. I'm gonna get something nicer. And I'm like looking at all the cars. I'm like trying to find a car for like a week. And I don't have a car, so it was like super inconvenient.
Yeah.
Like I needed
You
a
don't really
car.
realize it.
No, you don't realize how shitty it is to not have a car until you don't have one.
Yeah.
And anyways, so I was like, okay, I could get like this like a shitty Subaru or like, like something that's not very cool for like 10 grand, or I
Yeah.
could get this Nissan Sentra that's been sideswiped for $900.
This Nissan beater.
Yeah. So I scooped that thing. I still have that car.
Yeah, it's sitting
That
out
car
front.
is fucking amazing. It's my favorite car. It's probably,
I
well,
wouldn't say it's your
it's
favorite.
not my favorite car, but it is a great car. And I
Yeah,
still love it.
it's crazy that thing's still kicking.
Yeah. But and then I got a Toyota Tundra, like a
Yeah,
2019 Toyota Tundra, which was really nice, like a year and a half ago. But I just never drove it. I
yeah.
literally never drove it besides to go mountain biking.
I
Like,
also rode in that once.
really?
Yeah,
Oh, that's
like we
crazy.
got
Yeah,
to
but
go out
that
once.
was the thing. Like I never used it.
Right.
Like I literally would drive in it because like between my buddy Phil and I, we go mountain biking a lot.
Yeah.
We would like trade off driving here and there, but it was basically like maybe every 2 weeks because we go biking on the weekends, and so like maybe every 2 weeks I drive in it to
Hmm.
go mountain biking because the other week Phil would
Yeah.
drive or whatever.
Mhm.
So I was like, I have this super expensive truck that I don't use, and it sits on my like street.
Yeah.
Like this is crazy. Anyways, I had been like thinking about getting a BMW M2, but it just never really materialized.
Uh-huh.
Or like there was never a situation where it was like made sense. Anyways, we were just kind of like perusing. Wouldn't you know, Boulder Car has this like mint M2.
Yeah.
So I like hit up the guy and I'm like, hey, can I come look at the car?
Mhm.
I'm like at the point in time, I'm also like cripplingly frugal
Yeah.
most of the time.
Yeah.
Cause yeah, anyways. So I hit him up and I like immediately say, like, are you flexible on price? And he doesn't respond. And I go on a work trip for a week and I come back and I like hit him up. I'm like, hey, do you still have the M2? They're
Yeah.
like, yeah. And I'm like, can I come look at it? And they're like, yeah. We go look at it like at the end of the day on a Sunday, like literally they're closed.
Yeah.
And he it's in their showroom, which is like not like a super nice showroom or anything. It's just like a bunch of cars packed into a warehouse,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
He starts it, dude. And I was like, I look at Val and I'm just like, oh, I'm fucked. This is like the
Yeah.
coolest sounding thing I've ever, like,
Yeah.
for me, that was like kind of attainable. Anyways, I was like, yeah, I don't know, whatever. And I mentioned this truck. I was like, I have a truck. I need to figure out what to do with it. I don't, uh, I don't drive it enough. Like I've been thinking about selling it because basically the moment I got the truck, I've been thinking about selling it.
Yeah. I'm trying to see if the truck is still there.
No, it's not. They sold it.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
But just for context, Boulder Cars is like it's like a dealership kind of.
Yeah, they're like they sell used cars, but honestly they mostly sell Beamers.
I was gonna say it's like
They
well,
sell
this isn't
nice cars. They
like
don't
Audi
sell.
A4. They have a i8, which is like a sports car from
Yeah,
2015, but like a BMW M5, BMW M5, BMW X1, BMW X3, BMW X3, 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 X5. So if you're looking for any of these, but yeah, it's like used. Here's a range, like a Range Rover, a Mercedes Sprinter van, another X5. Like these are nicer cars. Like it's not like a
yeah.
used car.
No, no, no. Like that Nissan Sentra I bought from them. Well, the funny thing is so Val actually bought
Oh
her
yeah, yours
Nissan.
is listed as sold.
Oh, it
There's no
is.
photo of it, but yeah, it says sold.
No,
Oh no, that's a
that
Tacoma.
was
That was a
29. That
different
was
one.
2017.
Yeah, but
But
yeah, it's like nicer
Val
cars.
got her Toyota Sienna from there. Because Val ended up getting, 'cause she needed a car.
Yeah,
She bought a minivan too.
yeah,
That thing was not the best.
that was
But
a beater too. Yeah,
yeah, so we both had these like shitty cars.
yeah,
Anyways, so she bought that from them. So we have this like funny enough like history with this like used car
yeah,
dealership in Boulder.
yeah,
But anyways, they like those guys knew. I mean, I mentioned the truck and he's like, you could sell us the truck and
yeah,
get this. And I was like, because they were also like, you'd save a bunch of money, which is true. Like if you trade in a car, you save a
yeah,
bunch in the taxes.
yeah,
And I was like, well, I was literally thinking about selling this anyways, and this is kind of like a dream car.
right.
So yeah, I bought a BMW M2 and I fucking love it.
Yeah, you
It's
drive that thing way more than you ever drove the truck.
no, yeah, I want to drive it all the
Right,
time.
which is
If I could drive it every day, I would.
enough. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
so fucking sick.
yeah,
It's so loud too.
yeah. Like
It
before I came here to record, you guys were out driving, just
yeah.
like driving, which is like I do that on the truck once a week. I just like go out driving on like different road, like obviously not ripping up and down a canyon like you guys probably do or whatever, but like I go and like try to find a different trail to go on and just like watch a sunset or like eat Chipotle up high. It's like
Yeah.
when you find it, when you have a car, it's like so underrated to me. When you have a car that you want to drive, like you take time, like you're like, I want to finish work early, or like, oh, I'm not doubling today for me specifically. Like, I'm gonna go drive. It's like I can't wait for that. Just like
Yeah.
getting in my car, listening to music, and like taking it somewhere I want, and like taking photos of it. Like, yeah, that's a different feeling.
Yeah, it's that was the thing too, was like I just was never excited to drive the truck, my old
Yeah,
truck, like
right.
but it was also just because it was such a big car
Mm.
and I just never really had like I feel like the Tacomas are so much more practical from a daily basis.
Especially in Boulder.
For
Yeah,
sure.
the Tundra
Yeah.
was big.
It was huge. Yeah, it was huge. It was a really nice truck and I was like when I got it I was like, why would I ever sell this thing?
Yeah.
It's like so practical.
Uh-huh.
But then like the actual like I'm like I have a $40,000 car that I use to throw my bikes in the bed.
Yeah.
Like what? Like that doesn't make any sense. Like I was like, oh, I'm gonna need it for like taking care of the house. Dude, I
Yeah.
think I use it for like one, like I replaced the tr like that tree
Yeah.
in the front yard, which was useful.
Yeah.
But like my dad has a truck and he would let me use it anytime.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, this is insane.
Toss one bag of mulch in the bed. You're like, yeah,
Yeah, my
truck,
dad
let's
hasn't.
go.
Yeah, my dad hasn't got over that I sold the truck though.
Wow.
He's
Yeah.
like, I don't know, man.
Sports car, dangerous.
Yeah.
Wear your
So,
seatbelt.
but it's also perfect because Val and I are just super into cars.
Yeah.
So she has like a super unique Toyota Corolla GR, which is like those like sick hatchbacks. If
Yeah.
for anyone that
If you want to
she has
Google
the
it.
Circuit Edition, has like forged carbon
GRP.
fiber roof.
Super
It's
nice.
thick. She just got it wrapped.
Yeah.
What do you think of the wrap?
It's sweet.
Do you
Yeah.
like it?
It's like I feel like Toyota Corolla, like hearing that, like my Bubba also had a Corolla and it's just like a commuter.
Yeah.
But like hear Corolla and then you hear GR, it's like I don't know what that fucking means for most
Yeah.
people. And then you like see, it's like that's not a Corolla, like that's a sports car.
No, it's like a rally car.
Yeah, and especially once you get into the Circuit Edition, like if you just Google like yeah, Corolla GR4 Circuit Edition, like you'll see and it like can keep up with the M2. Like I feel like BMW is a more renowned sports car.
Yeah.
Like people will know like, oh, that's legit. But yeah, hers is, I mean, I've ridden in that probably 2 or 3 times too, and
Yeah.
it's legit.
Fast.
Yeah.
Well, I think actually I think my car, I don't know. Hers is all-wheel drive. I was gonna say my car's maybe faster, but her car is like super,
It's like quick.
it's so quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a sick car. So anyways, so yeah, we've been really enjoying like and that was the other thing that killed me. It was like she had this super cool car that I like loved driving,
Yeah.
but it was like I don't want like dude, if I could crash the house like
Her
super
dream car.
yeah, I like yeah, that's like game
Yeah.
over. She'll
Right.
divorce my ass. But yeah, so then we both have these cars and we're just generally super into cars. We like love Formula One. We
Yeah.
just like geek out on cars anyways.
Yeah. It's just like what you're into. It's
Yeah.
like, and not like you guys have a shit ton of cars, but once you get to a point where you can spend money on this car that you really want, it's like
Yeah.
some people spend that money on like vacations, or some people spend that money on like I don't know, like four wheelers and
It's
like
definitely
whatever people
not the
spend money on.
most it's definitely not the smartest thing to spend money on. Cars are terrible spend like
Yeah.
terrible things to
Yeah.
spend money on, but if you're into cars and you get a lot of enjoyment out of them, I think
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, you definitely should be smart about it, but yeah, we've really enjoyed just yeah, ripping the cars. What do you think of them too?
I think they was sweet. Yeah, it's crazy. Yours sounds much better, I would
Yeah.
say. Like yours sounds like yours sounds nuts.
It's
But Val's is also just like I sat in it and I was like, this is gonna be sick. And then we drove to like yeah, King Supers and then kind of drove it on the highway a little bit and I was like, this thing fucking goes. Like
dude,
this
it's
thing is
fast.
legit. Like I would be like you gotta be dialed in, like especially in sport mode and like you're trying to get after it.
Yeah.
You can't just like drive it. You have to kind of be dialed in and like know what you're doing. Like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go drive. Like there's no real like I'm doing this. Like it's definitely still a sports car.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and they're both manuals too.
Right.
Which is
Which
like
is also part
so
of it.
sick.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Which
Like
makes it much
I would have never gotten
more
that car if it
responsive.
wasn't a manual.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like rear wheel drive. I have to take it to a track and like try to drift it.
That would be crazy. That's what I want to do.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
like
think
Yondu is trying to mess with our setup here.
there's a track in nice.
Hey Yondu, can you stop? My cat's behind the camera and he's messing it up. Anyways, we're already at an hour 38 minutes. We didn't get to nearly what we talked about.
Yeah.
We could talk about a few more couple quick things.
Yeah, I feel like we're
But anyways, we both love cars.
Yeah.
Charlie has a sweet, really cool,
Yeah,
like
what would you say I mean, you got your dream car, obviously, but
yeah.
like
Well, I would say one of them.
if you had like a fleet, like three cars,
Oh God, like no price limit, or
no price limit, but not something like yeah. I'm interested to hear which like my three cars, like if I had to choose right now, like wake up tomorrow, still living in Boulder,
yeah.
same spot, like same like nothing changes aside. You can like you get seated these two cars.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably keep my Tacoma, but just soup it up like how I
Okay.
want it, just like
Yeah,
or a bigger car, I think having a like a Dodge TR like a TRX would be
that'd
sweet.
be sick.
Those
Yeah.
things get like 6 miles a gallon, but those things are so fucking fast. And they're just like massive, so wildly impractical. But like,
Uh,
yeah, money's not a thing. Like a TRX would be sweet, like just like a really souped up truck.
yeah, that'd be sick.
So yeah, like that, or even like a Tundra TRD Pro, just like something that's like a big truck, but also can get after it. Like you're not
Yeah.
gonna get blown off the line because you're in a truck. I think a lot of
Okay. So that's one.
yeah, that's one. I still would always get a Nissan GTR.
Dude, yeah, those are sick. Well, hold on. What year? Or like, do you
That's
have
the
a
thing. No,
year?
I don't have a year.
Okay.
So I got really into it before I was trying to buy like an Audi and I got like way too into it. And I was like, this obviously I'm not gonna get buy a Nissan GTR,
Yeah.
but just in general, I've seen like one or two drive around Boulder
Yeah.
and they're
Sure.
not, I mean, they're sweet, but they're like the one or two I've seen are just like not super souped up, but like a really nice GTR, just like a sports car would be nice. Just like rarely take out, but like it's not super showy like a Lambo. But if you know, you know, and it's like if you know what it is, like damn, that's a fucking really nice car.
Yeah.
But it's also like flies under the radar enough that some people are just like, oh, it's a Nissan, like whatever.
Well, it's like a super, like referred to as like a supercar killer because
Yeah,
they're so fast.
yeah. And
Yeah.
then my third car, I mean, it hasn't really changed. Like last year, I wanted a Rivian and like a Cybertruck. Like that was I was leaning into electric, but I still feel like I don't know, maybe it'd be a competition for the GTR, but like a Audi R8. I think that would be
That would be
sick. So
sick.
I feel like maybe one or I mean, ideally I'd like a truck, a sports car, and like a SUV.
Yeah.
But like last year, I remember I said to Val, I said a Rivian, a GTR, and an R8. But I think now it'd be like a yeah, like a TRX or just a TRD Pro, um, a GTR, and then like a honestly like a sick Honda Odyssey.
Yeah, dude.
Just like an SUV that's like really nice or like ooh, actually, I'll take it back. I can. Okay, final answer for right now.
Okay.
Oh, fuck. I'll go TRD Pro, Tacoma TRD Pro, because those are wildly overpriced, I think, but they're sick.
Okay.
White, black. There's one that drives around in Iowa. It's pretty dope. TRD Pro, GTR, and a Lamborghini Urus.
Okay.
Those are my choices. You get the SUV, but it's still really fast. GTR is just like,
Sick.
yeah. And then the TRD Pro, you can off-road it, you can load it with shit. I probably would never put anything in the bed of that thing because it's really fast too. But it just like the way it's a 2024 t-shirt or a TRD Pro, they kind of accent the roof a little different. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
There's one specifically in Boulder or in Iowa that I love, but yeah, those are my three.
Okay. That's pretty good. Pretty good list.
Yeah, imagine that. Oh,
Yeah, that'd be sick.
I'd be paralyzed in my driveway, just like I don't know which to
No,
drive.
dude, yeah. That's the thing. Like, I feel like Val and I now just have like the bug worse of like we
Yeah,
want more shit.
yeah,
That's just like,
yeah,
but if, yeah, if I had to choose three, I would just get like, I would, I mean, none of them would be practical.
yeah,
If I could have like three,
yeah.
I'd get a Ford GT40,
Nice.
like the like OG one,
Yeah,
like the one for anyone who doesn't like the Ford GT like 40 was like the Ford versus Ferrari car,
yeah.
like the gold one.
Uh-huh.
That I mean, those are also worth like 50 mil. So
Yeah.
that would be sick. I would want a GTR, but I want the R34. The
Yeah.
old one, like the imported, like
Yeah.
right-hand drive, like
Yeah, baby.
Japanese one
The
would be
right-hand
so
drivers.
sick.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. I mean, I could change this list so many different times and be so fucking happy.
Yeah, that's the thing.
But I'd probably just throw in like Ferrari, LaFerrari.
Yeah.
That's like probably like
That'd be
one of
sick.
the best like hypercars, like
Yeah.
supercars ever made.
Yeah.
And it's just sick. But I could swap that out with like a million different things
Yeah.
and be like stoked. But
Beyond stoked.
yeah, yeah, I'm beyond stoked.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also my net worth would drastically increase.
Yeah, a couple of different things would have to happen for any of that to come
Yeah,
true.
yeah. Unfortunately, I don't think. I think the most attainable car in there would be actually the R34. I think those are like 150 grand.
As
Not that
just
that's
not
like
actually,
super
yeah, not that
attainable,
it's attainable, but
more
the most
relatively.
realistic, the most immediate is definitely an R34.
Yeah, I'd love to get a Porsche too.
Yeah,
A Porsche would be fucking
I was just
sick.
thinking that too.
Porsche GT3.
Yeah,
GT3 RS would be like the ultimate dream, but those are like
yeah,
super, super
yeah,
expensive. So, but yeah, that
yeah,
was another car actually on the Grand Tour that Richard or what's his face, one of the guys he reviewed the GT3 RS and he was
yeah,
like, "This car's sick as
yeah.
fuck." Yeah, but that was not even the new ones that are like gotten super, super popular. Anyways,
Yeah.
enough about cars.
Sheesh.
The last thing I think we should talk about before we wrap it up
Yeah,
is UFC tonight, the fight
yeah,
night with there's only one fight that I actually like would
yeah.
not that I super care
It's a
about it,
typical UFC fight night.
but Colby Covington
Yeah,
versus what's his face? Buckley.
Buckley. Yeah, yeah. I feel like they fight nights get a bad rap. Like there's sometimes like obviously UFC pay-per-views are like anytime you hear like a UFC number, that's a pay-per-view for background for people who don't know. So like UFC, they're gonna the next one will be 311. I think it's mid-January. And so it'll be like that's what you have to pay for. That's what you have to like that's the big name. So any huge UFC name is gonna fight on that. A fight night is like it's only in Vegas or most of the time is in Las Vegas. And it's like undercards, but it's like there's so good cards, like they're trying to expand it, I feel like
Yeah.
they had some like top five ranked guys fight
Yeah,
on fight
there's
nights.
some sick fight nights.
And like even tonight, like Colby Covington is normally a pay-per-view guy.
Yeah.
But
Like
he's
main event pay-per-view guy typically.
yeah, but he's like main eventing a fight night, which is
Yeah.
like I'm sure there's a big fight or a big pay difference, but it's so cool.
Yeah. Izzy, just on the same note, Izzy just got announced as doing a fight night.
Really? I
Yeah,
didn't
just
see
today,
that.
I think.
Jeez.
Which is crazy
Yeah,
because that's
wild.
Izzy. Like he's one of the biggest stars.
Yeah.
Yeah, Israel Adesanya, who was like a long-term champion, is now
Fight
on
night.
a fight night, which is basically, I mean, fighting in the UFC is crazy, but fight nights are typically reserved for like up and coming people that maybe
Yeah, like if they rank the top 20 guys in each weight division, fight nights are typically like you don't see many people ranked higher than like top 9.
yeah,
Like it'll be like 12 versus 9 or like 15 versus 13 or something
yeah,
like which is dope. I mean, those fights can be really good because it's like guys still who haven't made it and like just swinging for the fences. But yeah, Colby Covington, I mean, he was the guy that was most recently supposed to fight Conor McGregor.
was he?
Uh-huh.
Colby Covington was?
Yeah.
Oh shit, I didn't
Because
know
he was
that.
on he was he
When was
ran
it? They never announced anything.
well, he was the captain of the UFC.
No, that was Chandler, wasn't it? Yeah, it was
Or no,
Michael
no, no, no,
Chandler.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Colby Covington was supposed to fight
Ian Gary.
Ian Gary. That's what it was. So
That would
yeah,
have
they
been a
had
good
like
fight.
that would have been a good fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that was also super public, but like they were like going back and forth on Twitter and like
Yeah, yeah.
this guy Ian Gary has had relationship dispute like
Yeah.
there's stuff. And so it was like
That's
yeah,
nice.
Colby Covington is like a super like patriotic conservative huge Trump supporter.
He went on. Did you see the thing where he just went on the stage and like just slammed LeBron?
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
like, just out
So
of
he's just
nowhere.
like very outward.
That's how the guy gets attention by just like being super like brash
Yeah.
about everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he definitely gets attention, but I feel like it's not as much as he wants. Like for
I
the
think it's
stuff
falling
he
off,
does,
too.
yeah, the stuff he does is like no one really cares because it's like we know Colby's gonna get up there and say something racist or like say something out of pocket, and it's like we know this is coming, so like find something else.
But it's all a show. Like
Yeah.
I've heard that he's not actually like a horrible, well, maybe he is a horrible
Yeah.
person, but I've heard that it's all a show.
I believe it.
Yeah. But the last fight he was in a title fight against Leon Edwards, right?
Yeah. No. Oh, yes.
And he got floored.
Yeah.
No, he didn't get floored. He didn't get
Right.
knocked out, but
Yeah,
he got beat handily.
Yeah.
And it was like he looked terrible.
Yeah.
So anyways, my prediction is for his fight tonight, he's gonna lose.
Okay.
And I think if he does lose, he might retire.
That would be crazy.
Because he's getting up there.
He is getting old.
And like I don't see him being like good at being completely like falling down the ranks.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I'm pulling it up right now. He's a plus 185, so he's definitely the
he is the
underdog.
underdog. That's
Yeah, by a decent
crazy.
amount, and it's supposed to go the distance. So the over 4.5 rounds is not heavily favored, but definitely favored. So yeah, he's supposed to lose. He's fighting, yeah, Joaquin Buckley, who's a minus 225 favorite.
Who that guy had that crazy spinning like knockout kick.
Yeah, that was nuts.
Yeah.
That's worth a Google for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, yeah, getting back to sports betting, like Colby to win by knockout,
That
technical knockout, or disqualification is plus 1100, which is astronomical. But Buckley to win by the same thing, knockout, TKO, or DQ is plus 140, which is like pretty even.
yeah.
Like plus 140 is like any football game that's going to be like pretty evenly matched. Is like one of them is going to be minus 141, or it's
Has Colby ever been knocked out though?
uh
Well, I
yeah,
can't.
I'm sure he's been starched for sure.
He never got knocked out against like Usman or any of those other big dogs.
But yeah, and then it's like, yeah, decision. It's supposed to go the distance. So decision is you won't win as much money if you go that. But yeah, yeah. But I mean, if you want to get into UFC, fight nights are definitely the way to go because it's like
Because they're free. You can watch them for free.
they're free. They're on like ESPN surely, and it's not going to go super late. Like it starts at 7:15, and that main fight I guess is at 10:45, so that's super late. But yeah, it's pretty easy to get into, and like I said earlier, most of those fights are pretty good. And so yeah, if you're looking to get into UFC, I mean, obviously this won't come out tonight, so it won't really fucking matter. But yeah, that's the UFC fights
Yeah.
or the fight night
Yeah.
for this week.
I think that if Colby loses, it'll be like super heavy fall off.
Yeah,
If he doesn't lose and he looks really good, then he's probably immediately back in like a title conversation.
right.
But
Well, yeah.
yeah. Yeah. The other
Well,
thing,
if he wins, I feel like it would be a good fight to fight Ian Gary because Ian Gary just lost, but not by much. Like
yeah, he was competitive.
yeah, he was competitive. So he's coming off a loss. If Colby wins, he'd be coming off a pretty astronomical win. And so I feel like that would be a good fight, and they could finally like actually fight versus social like go crazy on Twitter. But I don't know if they'll win.
Dude, I think Travis Hunter just won the Heisman, by the way.
Oh,
I was
well,
literally about to
damn
say,
it.
what, did you want Genty to win?
Oh, I wanted to watch it.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to spoil it.
I
Were you literally gonna go home and watch it?
didn't know when it was. I was gonna Google when is the Heisman.
Oh, it's tonight. It was happening right
The
now.
14th. Yeah,
I
damn,
think he
tonight is
just
the
won,
14th.
bro. I
Dang
was literally
it.
about to say,
I
we
guess
were
that's
going to
I
talk
mean
about this
that's
because
not news, but
that's insane, bro.
shout out.
Dude, shout out Deion Sanders.
Yeah. And shout out, oh, I guess Travis, I mean, this could also be a different topic and we're approaching 2 hours, so I feel like we could cut off soon, but he signed with Adidas, which is crazy because like he has a lot of customized Nike cleats, which obviously suits
Yeah,
Nike.
yeah,
But I feel like I wonder what that contract is for. But also Adidas only has, if you think of stars, like they have Patrick Mahomes and that's it.
dude. Did you see the chain that he had, the Adidas chain?
Patrick or
No, no, no.
Travis? No.
Travis.
Uh-uh.
He had like an iced out thing, like, and on the clasp, I think,
Yeah.
of those like big Cuban chains was the three stripes,
Ooh.
which was pretty hard. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But
Adidas is sick. I bet they make pretty nice football stuff too.
Adidas is cool, but obviously Nike would have been cooler in my opinion.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's still sick. I mean, good for him.
Yeah,
It's
that on top
crazy.
of whatever deal, yeah, I'm sure he just won. On top
It
of
looked
whatever
like he
deal
won,
and
right?
whatever contract, and yeah, that man will not have to worry about money. Did you see all the, I guess this is really quick, but did you see all the controversy between him and his girlfriend?
Over that whole thing.
Like, yeah, she like
After that,
after the
yeah.
Oklahoma State game
Dude, he was on that podcast. I saw a clip. He was on a podcast where
with,
they asked him about it. Did you see that?
yeah, I'm trying to remember who that was with.
Well, they basically asked him about it and he was like he didn't like deny that she was like mad at him about
Yeah,
something. So I do think that like people were speculating
I think,
potentially correctly.
yeah, that's tough though. Like, imagine, like, how many times, I don't know, you've done something stupid that could be taken out of context, like even to your boys or like to your
Yeah.
parents or something, and then it's like unfortunately, because it was on ESPN and because they were zooming in on Travis, because he is the Heisman favorite,
Yeah.
that she kind of got exposed. It's like, oh, it's so shitty. But then, yeah, like he posted, like he didn't react super well. I don't think like he posted a couple
Dude,
times
it wasn't even
afterwards.
that close. Look at this. So what we're looking at is Travis Hunter looks like just won the Heisman. Yeah, he definitely won the Heisman. He had 552 votes for the Heisman, and Ashton Genty had 309.
Dang.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I was actually going to ask you, even though we're extending this even longer, but did you think Travis should have won? Because that was like been like the big conversation was like if
Yeah.
Ashton Genty doesn't win,
Yeah.
it's like a huge snub for him because he's better than like numerous other running backs
Yeah.
comparatively that have won the Heisman in the past.
Right. Yeah, I think it's cool. I mean, I think leading up into this year, most of the time the Heisman would go to a guy on the best team,
Hmm.
which is like similar to the NFL MVP, is like you're on the most winning team, which is like always not going to be the best person. And it's most of the time the quarterback, like, yeah, it's already flawed. And so, yeah, I mean, Travis is legit. And it's like Ashton is also really, really good, but it's like
I think,
any other year he would have won it because Ashton Genty is insane. But I like, can you imagine this man plays? I mean, not that snaps are a big thing, but like he plays the whole game and he's really good at both sides. Like,
yeah.
if this guy doesn't win the Heisman and if you give it to like some like the quarterback who wins the national title game, as good as he might be, it's like, that's not what the Heisman is supposed to be. The Heisman is supposed to be the best player. Like, regardless
Yeah.
if it's like the most valuable player, which is a different conversation, but the best player has got to be Travis. Because,
I
like,
agree. I think the reason why Travis should be, in my opinion, I think that like it is unfortunate for Ashton Genty because he's so
yeah,
good. Like
yeah,
can't be underrated how good that guy is. Like his numbers are better than any other running back that has previously won. But
nice.
I think that's crazy. But I think the reason why you have to choose Travis is because he's so rare.
Right.
Like a lot of
Yeah,
running backs have won the Heisman before.
yeah,
But also, dude, the amount of time I mean, the amount of times defensive players win the Heisman
yeah,
is
true,
so rare.
true.
So the fact,
Yeah,
like, I can't, I honestly couldn't even tell you the last time a defensive player won a Heisman, although I don't follow the Heisman super closely.
yeah, yeah. I
But
think some people are saying he shouldn't win the Heisman because he might not be the best player. Like, he's not the best wide
he's not
receiver.
the best wide receiver and he's not the best defensive back,
Right.
but he does both.
But
And
he
he,
is electric at both.
yeah.
He is like way above average at both. Ashton might be a better offensive player with comparatively better stats on offense.
Well,
I
he's the
think,
best. He's the best
yeah,
offensive player.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, do you give it to the best offensive player? Or do you like give it to the best player? It's like
Yeah.
Ashton could not play defensive back. He
No.
could play like maybe linebacker and then because he's massive, but also like, yeah, I feel like this is I never understood the hot take of like people are saying Travis shouldn't win the Heisman. I don't understand why he
Yeah, I think
would.
he's just too unique.
Yeah.
I think he's just such a
For
once in a
yeah, for next
lifetime.
year, for college football next year, regardless of who you liked, is going to be different without Travis. To not give that man a Heisman would be messed up. Because then I think it would just devalue the Heisman in general. It's like we're not giving this to the best player, we're giving it to the best offensive
Well,
player.
the argument has been against Travis Hunter is that it's a popularity contest, which I just like blatantly disagree with.
Yeah.
Like I agree, yeah, like Travis is definitely more popular,
Yeah.
but at the same time, like I think that's like more of just like a negative perspective in general to like because you're kind of underselling what he's doing.
For
If you're
sure.
saying, oh, it's just a popularity contest, the
Yeah.
reason why he's popular is because no one's ever seen what he's doing. I mean, like Shadur is like one of the best QBs, if maybe not the best QB
Yeah.
in the all of NCAA football, and he's not even a finalist.
Yeah. So it can't be a popularity contest if like
And
Shador.
and he's the highest from a if you're talking about popularity, popularity is probably directly correlated to NIL.
Yeah, for
Shadur is
sure.
the highest as far as we've
Yeah.
been told or seen. He's
Yeah.
the highest paid
As of last
NIL,
week. Yeah.
right?
In
So
all of NCAA, regardless
right.
of football or whatever.
So we just cracked the code. The argument that Travis Hunter is popular
Yeah.
is winning it from
Yeah.
popularity is probably just not true.
Basically, I would have voted for Travis Hunter for
Yeah,
Heisman.
I would have too.
So put me on the board.
But dude, I will say last thing I'll say we should wrap this up. But the fat dude, it is just insane. at the beginning of this year for CU, I was super skeptical
Yeah,
about how CU would do. But think about it. They finished with like a crazy winning record, ranked in the top 25, arguably could have been 11-1. Could
yeah,
have been easily been in the college football playoff if they
yeah,
hadn't made
definitely.
and it's year two
I
of
yeah,
Deion
they're one
Sanders
game
being
away
here.
probably. If they had one more win, if they won against either Kansas State or
They almost won against Kansas. They were close to winning against Kansas State, and they should not have lost to Kansas.
yeah, yeah. I feel like if they won either
Not
one
taking
of those
anything away
games,
from either of those teams.
yeah, yeah. But so they could have. I mean, they could have. Like SMU got in, but yeah. So
But dude, just think about like 3 years, like when you got to CU,
yeah,
think about basically being like, oh, hey, in 2024, CU is going to have the Heisman.
so yeah, it's
That is
crazy.
insane,
Yeah,
bro.
and he's. I mean, he's
You ask
what?
anyone in all of
I think
college
he's a
football,
junior, so he's like what, 21 maybe?
dude, they were
20?
what, 1-11?
We're gonna have, or CU's gonna have a Heisman, which is already nuts. CU's gonna have a Heisman transfer because Deion Sanders is gonna be a coach, and the transfer isn't gonna come from Alabama.
Yeah.
He's gonna come from Jackson State,
Yeah.
which is crazy. Like, yeah, you told me that 3 years ago. It's like what?
Yeah, it's
And
insane.
it's not Shador. It's not Deion Sanders' son, who's a
Yeah.
quarterback, who
And it was
normally wins a Heisman.
insanely good.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy. Yeah, it's super cool.
It is
And I mean,
crazy.
yeah, we just got that quarterback for next year, so it's like, uh, whatever his fucking.
So then it brings the question is Rick George the greatest athletic director of all time?
Could be.
I don't know,
Could
man.
be. Not
He
sure.
might have had the that might be the smartest
Yeah.
like one time like single decision like
Yeah.
ever
Yeah.
in college sports.
True.
Because that's such a big risk too when you think about it.
Right. I mean, even if it didn't work out, even for a year, it brought probably like, I don't know, 200% more revenue to Boulder as a
Yeah.
city. Like, even if it was just last year where they were, whatever, they were 3-7, 4-6, whatever it was, like, yeah, Boulder was nuts.
My hope is
Boulder
just
still
that
is nuts with like the football games, but last year it was like, holy shit.
it was cool to see. It was just, I mean, and this year was the follow through that like they needed. Because can
Yeah.
you imagine the implosion of popularity
Yeah.
in like CU and
Yeah.
Dion if like they weren't actually able to be successful?
Yeah, it would have been bad.
Yeah.
It would have been pretty bad pretty quick.
But moral of the story is
Travis Hunter's legit.
Travis Hunter's
Deion's
legit.
good.
Deion Sanders may, I mean, it's crazy. CU, Rick George, dude.
It's all working out.
Props, holy shit.
Yeah, it's all working out, and it's cool
Yeah.
to be part of. But
It's cool to be able to be a legit fan and like
yeah,
not just like a bandwagon. Like you
yeah,
went there,
yeah,
I was born here, so
yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's pretty sweet. So
Sweet.
yeah, shout out to all them. But I think that's where we should wrap it. We're at
Yeah.
2 hours.
2 hours.
It's pretty amazing how much we can ramble. I probably talked
I
about
feel like I'm
my
gonna fucking-
career history
I'm
for way
entertained
too
then,
long.
bro.
We have so
this
many
sweater,
lights
these
on.
lights, I'm dying. But yeah, I think to end out the bro hear me out moment. I didn't get to talk about it. It's funny, last week I feel like we talked about running a lot and we didn't talk about running at all, which is dope.
We don't want it to be a running podcast. We're going to talk about running inevitably a lot.
Yeah. So my bro hear me out moment at the end of the show. I'm very biased because I started at CIM. I think bro hear me out, CIM is a harder course than the Chicago Marathon.
Ooh.
I think
yeah, I mean you'd have good
CIM. I talked about it with I wonder if he listens, the athlete specialist Spencer Brown. I ran with him earlier this week or last week actually. I feel like CIM just gets a bad rap because it is a really good spot to qualify. Like it's not a hard course. Like by any means, it's not a Boston, it's not a New York. There are definitely harder courses out there. Debuting at CIM, and I've said this since I finished that race, it's like supposed to be like, oh, downhill, or like, oh, you ran a PB at CIM, which is California International Marathon. Last year, it happened to be the last day of the Olympic trials qualifying window. It's just really good timing. December in Sacramento, hypothetically, you're not going to get too bad of weather. But that thing is like, you ask anyone who's ran CAM, it's rolling. It has this connotation, and it's not a world qualifier or world athletics course because it's point to point rather than a loop or whatever it needs to be. That course for the first, I would say even half marathon is way more rolling than it gets credit for. And I mean, I would know. I ran Chicago as well, which is one of it's where the 2 world records are for men and women. I think CIM is a harder course than that,
So
which
let me ask
I
you.
think people normally say like when I ran 213 at CIM, people were like, "Oh, it's at CIM," or I even saw threads or like posts like, "Oh, it's at CIM." It's like, what is he gonna run? It's like, yeah, I get that because people historically run fast at CIM because it is a quote unquote tier two or A minus tier race that like you can run 213, get third overall, win prize money, like well, all that stuff. But the competition's good. They take care of you really well. The infrastructure there is really good. And yeah, is miles 15 to 26 or 16 to 26 net downhill? Sure. But it is rolling. And there are definitely times where you're just like, I'm not ripped. I'm sure my splits were all over the place because the rolling hills versus Chicago was like very notorious for people go out too fast and just can't hold it. And that's what I ran into. I just ran out too fast. There wasn't a hill or it wasn't like the first half is just mad fast and the second half is also super fast.
Mm,
Like a girl ran 209. It's like, I don't know if she's doing, I mean, she's really good, possibly doping, likely doping, but
who?
Ruth Chepngetich, she ran 209 at Chicago. She beat me by three
Well,
minutes.
hopefully she's not doping.
Yeah, different conversation. But I think she would run something similar, 209 to 210 to 211 on CIM scores because it is rolling. But
Mm.
that's my hot take. Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Do you think if that the race that you had at CIM last year, if you ran that same race on the Chicago course, you would have run faster than you ran in Chicago this year?
No.
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 Okay.
Yeah, I mean, at CIM last year, I went out faster than I wanted to still, but I really like, and I'll say this forever, I really geared down on the hills because I was like, I'm scared of these hills. Like
Hmm.
everyone told me it's a fast course, but it's like no one told me it's rolling. Like, and rolling can be fast. Boston's a fast course, it's rolling.
Yeah.
But I've pictured it being just like flat. I pictured it being what Chicago was, and Chicago still has hills. Like in the last 400 meters, there's a bridge you cross over, and it's like 200 meters or whatever. And I swear I was going 730 pace, and it was like marathon hills are just different. But yeah, I think I ran a better race. I was way more fit for Chicago. It didn't. I mean, it was an 80-second PB, but I think if I ran the race I ran in at CIM, I would have ran close to the same time,
Okay.
like 213 mid to even 214 on a Chicago style course because it's like a fast enough course that if you get in trouble, it kind of works against you. It's just like you're just going backwards, and it's like you're not able to like regroup. It's just like straight. That's
Yeah.
yeah, I would say
Yeah.
that. So yeah,
Well,
shout out everyone. Well, yeah, before shout out everyone who ran CAM.
yeah, it's of course. Also, there was Nike Cross Nationals and Foot
Yeah,
Locker, so shout out all the high schoolers.
yeah, high
Also,
school dreamers.
yeah, those Hoka uniforms. I don't know. So Foot Locker.
Ooh, shout out Niwot High School boys winning NXN. That was sick.
Oh yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah, that
All the
is sick.
legends. Yeah.
Local. How did the
The girls didn't
what?
qualify.
Oh, they didn't they
No,
win last year?
they did win. They didn't qualify this
Dang.
year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, shout out to everyone at all those races. Yeah, crazy, crazy cool. Um, my last bro hear me out moment. I'll round it off. Then we should just end it here.
Round it off.
Chuck, I think you deserve a contract.
Bro, here we go. Let's expand on that.
No. Cut it there. Cut it there.
All right. Well, yeah, we'll cut it there. Hopefully that's not a bro hear me out moment much longer. But yeah, thanks for listening again. This one's even 20 minutes longer than last week, but we got into it this week, I would say a little bit more. Hopefully it's a little bit more quality of a listen. And then yeah, as we said last week, now we know exactly what we're on. So the Instagram is, I believe, what is
It's
it?
bro underscore hear me out.
Bro underscore hear me out. The YouTube channel is bro hear me out.
Yeah.
Spotify, Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Deezer, Pandora,
Yeah.
Ask FM, like whatever, wherever
Yeah,
you
listen to it
miscellaneous.
wherever.
Yeah, if it's not in a place that it needs to be, let me know. I can get it there because we're paying for a subscription now. So I can make it happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, give us a follow on the socials. If not, the account page, just the personal or personal pages. And then yeah, slide in the DMs and
Yeah,
let
let
us
us
know what you liked, what you didn't like. Spotify does a rankings or a rating system, so give it 5 stars, hopefully. Leave a comment. I
yeah,
don't know
let
what
us
Apple Music
know if
does.
like any of us, it's probably mostly our friends, but Yeah, let us know like if there's anything that we haven't talked about that you guys want to hear about, like
Yeah.
whether it's just shooting us a text or
Yeah, for
or
real.
flaming us on YouTube.
Anything, actually anything helps. And then especially once we get into like hosting people on here, we're gonna get other people on, so it's not just us talking. And if you want to know, like, yeah, ideally in a
Yeah, or people that you
world,
want us to have on, that would be
yeah,
cool.
yeah, and just toss us questions you want us to talk about, or you want us to ask a guest, whether a guest is like,
I mean, I feel like, yeah, whatever it is. We the first couple episodes will probably be a few more episodes, just Charlie and I,
yeah,
but we just kind of wanted to see how we do. And I feel like, I mean, we've talked for like 2 hours,
we're
over
doing
two
well.
hours, and I feel like
Yeah,
we
I
could
gotta eat
talk
dinner,
easily
bro.
for another hour, if not
I've
more.
been eating dinner at 7:30. I
Yeah,
gotta fucking
Val
eat.
Val's gonna be
Oh
pissed.
yeah,
She wanted
sorry,
to eat
bro.
like an hour ago. Anyways, yeah, thank you guys for watching or listening, and we're gonna be back soon. So,
Soon,
all
next
right,
week. Hopefully this drops Monday or Tuesday, and we'll be back next week.
all right, see you guys.